Okay, here we are. With this game for the final time. If you ask me, it should have happened sooner. But here we are anyway, so. Hey, Lifeblood, how you doing? Welcome back. As per usual, you're going to hold that against me that I am late. I am late today for the same reason that I am glad to be getting my own schedule back after this. And that is that as we get further along in this project, Cole's and my schedules are getting further and further apart and conflicting more and more. Right now, there are only 4 days per week that I can stream with him. And 3 of those 4 days are Thursday, Friday, Saturday. If we try to stream on Tuesdays, like we are today, because I wanted to give myself a break before April Fool's, he has therapy sessions on Tuesdays that often go until 5 p.m., so I need to be tactically late to my own stream so that he doesn't fall behind. So that is why I am late today, is because I want to make sure Cole doesn't get too far behind in the quests, because we have 4 quests left to do, and if he gets too far behind, he might not make it to the stream at all. So I want to make sure he has time to get here, because this is also his project, and I would not want to finish this without him. So there you go. There's my excuse. I think it's legitimate, but I'll leave that up to the eyes of the beholder to figure out if it's legit or not. Yes, welcome to the last stream of Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers, the last stream of Final Fantasy XIV, period, for me. You will never see this game again after this, and the less that I talk about it after this, the better. Oh, I'm being so mean to it already. But, well, I'm sure we'll have last-minute thoughts that Cole and I can just jointly talk about by the end anyway. And that's after I show you how I hijack the cannon, so that'll be a fun time. Maybe. Should have happened way sooner at the end of the stream. Yeah, well. I feel ya. This is one of those projects where I said to myself, no, I absolutely have to finish it when I started it. And I said, it would be remiss of me to not finish it, because I know Cole, at the very least, enjoys the hell out of this game. So it would be remiss of me to take away his enjoyment because I don't like it. This is what's called older brother responsibilities. You often have to delay your own satisfaction because it's easier on the family unit to allow a compromise of satisfaction where everyone gets something, and I wanted to make sure Cole got something out of this. So why would you have to say you have to end it? You enjoyed P5 Strikers, but I ended it anyway. That's because you're not my family, Lifeblood. I'm sorry. I know you enjoyed the P5 Strikers playthrough, but I just couldn't get into it. It just wasn't for me, I guess. I've considered going back and trying it on normal mode and seeing if it's for me, but the story really irked me at the beginning of P5 Strikers. So, like, it wasn't... The problem, again, was that the story was strong in P5 to begin with, and in P5 Strikers, this first character that you meet as a bad guy feels like a poser compared to Kamoshida. You are not family, that is true, but you are something else. You are a friend in the chat. I just like to keep things structured, that's all, so I define certain things. But you are a friend in the chat, so that's how I see you. How was it without you bringing the whole entertainment for this catastrophe? Well, yeah, I mean, it was probably... There was probably less banter, if I'm being honest. I feel like there was more banter when you're here, but that's because both you and I dislike this game fairly strongly, so that's why the banter just sort of rolls off, you know. Anyway, I'm delaying the inevitable. Let's get started. You're only not a menace when we're on the same page. You'll still be a menace when we're on different pages, I think. So, if Twitch lets you be a menace without shadow banning you again, which I still think it was really stupid of Twitch to do, but I don't know. Okay. Deep breath. This is it. 4 more quests, and if my calculations are correct, the first one will take longer than the other 3 combined. Let's fucking do this. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the finale of Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers, the stream edition. I gotta tell you, it doesn't feel real yet. It probably will once the stream is over, but it just doesn't feel real yet. So we'll figure that out as we go. Last time we did the funny quests. We did the Hildebrand Stormblood quests almost all the way through. We have 1 left to do. And that is what we're going to do today after Cole says Poyo and I get him in the chat. So let's get him in the chat. There we go.
Okay.
Poyo?
Poyo.
Poyo. Hi.
On today's episode of Cole is Unprepared, I accidentally scheduled my therapy again on the same day as the stream.
Nah.
This has happened 3 times now.
It's okay. We only had to wait an extra 10 minutes, so.
Aside from that, let's see, what else? My fridge is empty.
Fun.
So I'm going to need to go shopping at some point or another.
You should tell Mom.
And to order food.
You should tell Mom about that one.
I shall. Oh, shit, they gave me 2 drinks instead of 1! Pog!
Yeah, when we're on the same page, it kind of stops you from being a menace, Lifeblood. That's true, but we'll get to the point where you can be a menace again. It's fine. Yeah, that was Dad
being a menace?
upstairs,
What I miss?
talking just a minute ago, so you probably heard them. That's okay.
What I miss?
What? Oh,
What I miss?
Lifeblood was saying, how was it without him being in chat for a few episodes? And I said, well, honestly, there was probably less banter because you and I both dislike this game. And he said, aw, so that means I'm not a menace. And I said, well, it's hard for you to be a menace when we both agree on something, you know? So.
Fair enough.
Wait, Gilgamesh, isn't that like the final boss? He was a minor antagonist in Final Fantasy V, but he was technically speaking the final boss because we just fought him at the end of the last episode, and he's technically the last piece of instanced content in the game. There are no instances in this episode.
I find that to be relatively amusing, honestly, that through all the horror that we've experienced, through all the super weapons, through all the eldritch horrors from far beyond the veils of our worst nightmares, the final boss of the stream is Gilgamesh.
I mean, you knew I wouldn't be able to get through this without seeing Gilgamesh one more time. I like Gilgamesh.
It's Morphin time.
Don't do the Dew Prism. Oh, don't you worry about that, Hildebrand. I cut off that stream months ago.
What?
Dew Prism is the Japanese name for Threads of Fate.
Damn.
Also, fuck Threads of Fate. Wait, no combat here? No, absolutely none. No combat today. Only dialogue.
And Jimmy
I
hijacking the
apologize.
cannon.
Yes, it will be extra boring because it's all talking today. And me hijacking the cannon, yes.
Oh shit, let me start the quest.
Well, yeah, you
On the
almost
upside,
committed ritualistic.
We get the Mambo out of this quest.
That's true. We do. We finally get his dance moves. But you almost committed ritualistic seppuku last time, Shigure, so it's probably for the best that you didn't do that. And what did he share with you? Oh, okay. Why wouldn't he send a lackey to do that? Right. An unmarked satchel filled with a white powder. Why does Master Akebono have a satchel filled with anthrax? Am I allowed to say that on Twitch, or will I get banned? I guess we're gonna find out. Yes, where is his crystal meth? I didn't know we were... the main villain of this set of quests was gonna be Walter White, except Japanese.
Okay, Bono, we need to cook. Please tell me you're naming the stream Breaking Bad.
No, I have a different title in mind. I could name it Breaking Bad because I don't like this game and I'm breaking the canon, but yeah, I'll think about it.
Automod isn't picking up meth, so...
for heaven's sake. Can we skip this already? Yes, you want to skip this game, even on the last stream. We'll get to the opportunity. I will give you one chance to be able to skip things, Lifeblood, because I'm going to skip an entire X pack today like that. So there you go. Considering meth isn't censored, do you think I'll be fine? Okay, well, I'll take your word for it. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, Automod doesn't pick up meth.
That's good. Where the hell am I going anyway? Oh, into the sewers. That's where I'm going. Back down. Sorry, I was following the quest marker, not realizing it was below us.
I took a shortcut.
Oh, okay. I think you and that male Vera that I was following did the same thing. I'll take the...
Railings and stairs are just a suggestion.
Especially when your knees are made of titanium.
Titania!
Ah, my knees! Let's try a few more drugs,
titanium.
shall we? Are your knees made of titanium, or did you take fall damage?
Of course I took fall damage. I really wish Ninja negated fall damage.
Actually, Ninja takes less damage from falling. They don't negate it, but they take less damage from falling.
Actually, no. I know who should negate fall damage.
Who is that?
Monks.
I was going to say Dragoons because they can jump, but... Actually, technically speaking...
That's also true.
A lot of classes should negate fall damage in this game, like at least at 3 or 4, but they don't.
Imagine they just patch in that every class, once you get your 30 crystal, just negates fall damage.
We got heroin, nicotine, alcohol, you're out of drugs. Wait, cocaine, now you're out of drugs. There you go.
Also, that Vera that was following you is just named Not Tank.
I can see that. I wouldn't want a tank with a bare chest either. That would hurt.
Your armor is your muscles. You gotta be built like a fucking tank.
So that's a warrior glamour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you like the cut of Gilgamesh's jib, Koju, because I also like the cut of his jib.
I do not like getting cut into jibs by him, though.
That almost didn't happen last time, but then it did.
That was actually some very clever wordplay on my part. I'm giving myself a pat on the back.
Nice.
I'm gonna eject myself in the stream at Mach 2.
But that didn't happen to me when I wordplayed.
That's because you're the owner of the stream.
I mean, I could press the eject button whenever I... Wah!
He's dead, Jim.
Are those... Yeah, I don't think those are the correct one. Let me get back to you. As above, so below. Those are the magic words. Let's just cut to the chase. Yeah, I understand how these shady dealings work. Believe it or not, this isn't my first time dealing with, people in the sewers doing shady business deals. You know, just play poker at the inventory. I mean, we could play one more game of Triple Triad before the stream is over. So what does this suspicious powder have to do with all of this shit anyway? I mean, I guess it was Akebono's, and, that's all he really cares about getting, but... I guess, Razat Han alchemists would probably be able to tell us what that powder is, so... I'm surprised that well, no, actually, he probably can go bang on the gates of foreign consulate. His father is one of the owners of the Gold Saucer, so I think he kind of can, actually. Next thing you know, we'll be playing Shovel Knight King of Cards. Oh, we'll get there, don't you worry. We will get to King of Cards. I can't guarantee how many card games we'll play in King of Cards, but we will be doing a playthrough of King of Cards at one point, along with the rest of Shovel Knight, so... Because I do quite enjoy Shovel Knight.
I always wondered how the hell they were going to do those expansions with all the knights. Because, most of them are just dicks.
Yeah, and, I mean, sometimes that doesn't
Shovel
change.
Knight's fine, and then Evil Shovel Knight's fine. But then the rest of them are just assholes.
Well, Spectre Knight has a sad, sob story of a backstory, so that's his thing. Plague Knight's just crazy, and then King Knight is as awful of a person as he always was, except now he can be it to everyone instead of just Shovel Knight.
Plague Knight's my favorite.
I like Plague Knight too.
he's just crazy. He's just completely off his rocker.
He's just a meme lord, basically. He's just like, man, I just feel like throwing potions at you today, so I don't really give a shit what your thing is. I'm just gonna throw potions at you. Bye.
Played all the modes except Alchemist Knight because I can't.
You can't play Plague Knight's mode. I mean, I guess it takes some getting used to be fair. So I really enjoyed Plague Knight's mode personally. It was like playing. It was almost like playing Meta Knight mode in some of the Kirby games, honestly. So I guess it was less offensive, like you had ranged attacks rather than Meta Knight's sword, but it felt like it was way easier because of the third jump that you get. So
Boing.
You're just shit at it. Oh, that's okay. No big deal. Just a little practice, a few more playthroughs, and we'll get you there, Lifeblood. So, do I know what 8th grade syndrome is? Is it 8th grade syndrome? Like he's a middle schooler, so he acts like a middle school person? That's what I would assume it is, but I don't actually know if that's what it is, so. Well, no, actually. I mean, we could just go straight to Radzat Khan. I'd have to talk to a few people to, go do that. Or we could just ask these guys about the, substance in the satchel. Uh-huh. Ah, I knew the voice sounded familiar. It's Godbert.
I love Hildebrand's immediate reaction of fear.
Well, he was just waiting. He was like,
This may be the first time these two have met each
again?"
other and did not suplex each other.
Well, just give it time. I'm sure it'll happen at some point.
It always happens.
Every single time they see each other. Yeah, that would be helpful so we can determine whether or not Akebono was attempting to, cook crystal meth. Oh, well, as it so happens to be, here's the representative we're looking for right now. How convenient. Okay, cool. Especially since we don't have to go through the miles and miles of paperwork we probably would have had to fill out to get into the Hanish consulate. Okay, so let's go see if we can find this satchel then. Alright, so I haven't said anything so far, but I'm going to say it now because she is not saying anything. Nashu has been acting out of character since the last quest we did. She's not saying hardly a thing. And on top of that, right before we went to the trial, when she learned that Hildebrand ran off without her, she said, "What are you waiting for, hero? Why don't you go after him?" And that's not who Nashu is. She always chases after him with some sort of a quip, like, I can't run that fast. So I'm starting to get bad vibes out of this whole thing. I hope it's not, my feelings are unfounded, but I'm starting to get bad vibes. So. Anyway, here's the dew prism that the quest was talking about. And what does it do? Oh. Well, now the bad vibes are coming back. That's just great. Uh-huh. So, is that why he needed this? Is it... Uh-huh. Well, I didn't manage to see that one. They didn't even show that, but I guess Shigure saw that. Even though they didn't show it to us as well. Did they show it to us? I'm trying to think so. But he has to be using the dew prism for... Well, I struggle to say this, too, because now it feels like they... I don't know if I have the energy to explain why this is stupid, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure if I want to take the time to explain why it's stupid, because I just want this stream to be over. Whatever, let's just move on. This is dumb. That's all you need to know. People who actually believe they're powerful people due to magic or something like that. They tend to wear eye patches and blabber about how they can't contain their power. An example is King Knight, who actually believes he is a king. Okay, so he has delusions of grandeur. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, how about you save us all the trouble and just click to save us all? Yeah, I'm trying.
Why am I imagining you said I don't have the energy to say all this news, so you know what? I'm just gonna stop the stream right here. Have a good night, everybody.
No, that would have been. Then you wouldn't have gotten to see me hijack the cannon.
No, it's funny to me because that's a joke I was expecting you to do throughout the entirety of the stream. It's just something so stupid happens. You end the stream as a punchline, and then you just start it back up again.
Just like click off, click on, part A, part B. Hey Marie, how you doing? Welcome back. See, Lifeblood's here. It's almost over, friend. Yes, it will be over today. That's for sure. Lifeblood would be down with that, even though it would be a joke and I'd be back on in 5 seconds, but, you know. Okay, so I guess I can kind of summarize why I think this is stupid. They've spent 7 quests trying to tell us basically the same sort of thing that a lot of Hildebrand quests already tell us, which is that there's a fundamental problem with a system of law in wherever Hildebrand is. Now, there's always shenanigans and slapstick and antics going on in the background to make it lighthearted, but at the end of the quests, that law system is always called into question and potentially changed by characters in the quests. We got to see an introspective look on Uldah's system of law and the lengths people would go to in order to get by in Uldah because the system ultimately hates them. And we also got to see how an Inquisitor in Ishgard learned that, yeah, you know, the Inquisition kind of sucks and their way of thinking can't work anymore because the world has moved on from their way of thinking, and the old Inquisitors were literally too inflexible for them to change their ways without you, so you had to directly intervene and fix it. Here, it feels like they're leaning towards that for the first, 6 quests, and now they're going to pull a MacGuffin out of their ass to try to say, this is why Master Akebono, who is very distinctly Kugane Wealthy Merchant number 465 at this point, is causing problems for people, and it just doesn't work for me. So that's my succinct summary. It wasn't very succinct. You have all of 2 streamers who have more than 30k channel points. See how special they are, which includes you since you keep coming back. Well, I'm glad y'all keep coming back, even though I've pretty much exclusively been bitching for the past 44 streams. The Wolf Burglar. He broke out of prison.
Have we really only been doing this for 44 streams?
This is stream number 44, yes. I mean, technically speaking...
I say that because it feels like double that.
I mean, technically speaking, if you want to count all of the episodes of Final Fantasy XIV we've done, this is like stream number 150-something. So... Because it was 51 for A Realm Reborn, 36 for Heaven's Ward, 43 for Stormblood, and now 44 for Shadowbringers. So add that all together. I'm going to do it on calculator because I don't feel like thinking today. Hold on. 51 at 36 at 43 at 44. 174 streams total. It was more than I thought.
How many hours on average are those?
3 hours. 400 something hours of stream
This project
content.
has taken 400 plus hours
Yes.
out of my life.
Yes.
Oh my fucking god.
We'll never get it back.
I'm having an existential crisis on stream.
It's fine. At least this is sort of a high note. Yeah. Maybe I should have done the Allied Beast Tribe quest as the last 2 sets of quests and done the Hildebrand stuff as soon as Rory got back. If I had known, but I didn't know, so... Can't wait to suffer later once stream suggestions start up again. There you go. And yes, Lifeblood submitted his stream suggestion already. I'm just going to let you know, Lifeblood, your suggestion is going to last for all of the rest of this month and all of April, because I don't think we're going to get 4 suggestions before March is over. So I'm just going to let it go all the way through April as well, and then it won't fall off of the list until the end of April. So there you go, just so you know.
It's
Anyway,
okay, I'll
let's
just
keep moving.
tiebreaker this bitch. Taking donos.
Taking donos so he can, push someone's suggestions towards it. Oh, a silent partner. I'm guessing that's, I was going to say, Akebono's going to meet with this silent partner to get his meth back. Fair enough. High note? What high note? This is sort of high, at least higher than the first. Yeah, well, I guess that's maybe fair. I mean, if the quest does exactly what I just said, where they use this dew prism as an excuse for all of the bad things that Akebono has caused, this will be like 2.1 Hildebrand quests, like before they really started taking off. It definitely has already gone lower than the Heavens Ward ones for me, just from that, but, you know.
The only high thing here is the people on the drug.
I mean, you're not wrong. Cole, remember, there are actual insane people who do all of this and Endwalker in 3 months.
I know. I am one of them.
I was going to say, though, you didn't do all the side quests, right? You basically speedran the story?
Yes.
Yeah, so, like, just the main story. And, I mean, the main story of this game
I started
is...
Endwalker. I started Endwalker on release.
Yeah.
Like... I just realized I was muted. What the hell? Or my muted light was on. What the fuck?
Oh, okay. I heard you, so...
So I started Endwalker on release date, on, like, time of drop.
Which is like
Marie,
6
you'll
a.m.
know where I'm talking about. I ended my thing in Razat Han after the apocalypse starts. I then
His first
took
session.
a break. That was my first session. My second one, I finished Endwalker.
He finished it
Also,
in like,
I skipped no cutscenes.
he finished it in like 2 days.
Yeah,
Just the main story.
that's half of Endwalker. Yeah.
You quite literally played Endwalker exactly like people play Pokemon games on release date. Which
Listen,
is kind
Endwalker
of
had my
nuts.
attention. When
I
something has my
can tell.
attention, I do not stop.
I can tell.
I have ADHD. I hyperfixate on fucking everything.
More problem is the fact that there are people who actually play the Omega shit on max difficulty. Yeah, I wish I was one of them. Maybe I'd have enjoyment out of this game if it kept crushing my dick under its weight of difficulty.
Under the weight. That's a Titan joke.
Of difficulty. Oh, good, it's daytime now. Dude, Mono, you just insulted all Pokemon fans. I'm not sorry for it. They need to play those games slower, because they won't be able to savor it without playing them slower.
Surprised you're not reacting to what's happening on screen.
Anyway, Godbird is doing a deal and attempting to do a bit because it's Godbird. Yeah, I was going to say, so that means this Hanish representative is now the bad guy because he's the one who gave Akebono the anthrax cocaine. So that's just great. See, but this opens up an awful lot of questions, like how long does the drug last? Like, there's a whole bunch of questions I have now about the drug that are probably going to get completely glossed over in favor of a joke. So, you know. Yeah, only if you can get them to drink your drinks, which, I don't think they should do that anymore. How many drugs are you calling them? I don't know, maybe I'll add one every time I reference it from now on, just so that way it just gets more ridiculous with time. So. Dude, stuff like that is why you think you're on the spectrum as soon as you decide to get tested. Beat time in 17 hours after you got it, that's the fastest you'll ever finish a fucking Pokemon game. That's a quick play. Most Pokemon games take me a solid 30 hours unless it's like Gen 1. I can beat Gen 1 in probably 20, but I don't know. I guess I play slow. I mean, that's obvious. You've watched my streams, so you know that, but...
That's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize about the difference between me and my brother. My reading speed is like quadruple his.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
That's not even a joke.
That's true.
Sometimes when I'm playing games for friends, I have to actively slow down so they can understand the text on screen.
Godbert? Oh, no. Godbert inhaled the crystal meth cocaine. Oh, no. Yeah, it's just Hypnosis the drug. Move on. There you go. So how do we snap him out of it? Because I wouldn't dare to do what I think they're going to ask us to do. But we have to get my goldsmithing mentor back.
We need to save him. Somebody call his wife.
I don't know if she's on vacation. He might be on vacation here specifically to get away from her, so I think this might be up to Hildebrand. Takes 17 hours for Pokemon? Damn, that's a long time. You were a kid, and you had to sleep. I mean, what are you planning on doing? Throwing some of the crystal meth at us? I thought you said we have to ingest it in order for it to... This is just a miracle drug, isn't it? It just does what the plot demands it does. Stop questioning. Just consume the crystal meth.
Oh, no.
That's what Final Fantasy XIV is telling us right now. Oh my god, he took the glasses off. Cole, we are fucked. There is no stopping.
Have you ever seen him take the glasses off?
No. And I don't think I want to ever again.
So you remember how you said I was one of the most powerful beings on the continent?
Yes.
You fucking lied!
I mean, we can't stop him. I can guarantee you that much, but... Ow. More drugs and then counter commands. Why is he naked? Because it's Godbert Manderville. He always gets naked when he has to do something. It's just a character trait.
Fucking Manderville.
What did you miss on Dragon Ball? So these are the comedy quests, this set of quests that we're doing here, and they always have ridiculous over-the-top slapstick that doesn't make any sense in context for the rest of the game, but makes perfect sense here. Akebono, you might want to... Goodbye. How is he not dead? Oh good, now they're all in the ground. As they should be. I kind of wanted there to be like a heaven symbol on his back when he came down, because they just did the Akuma
fucking
thing.
Akuma.
Yeah, they just did the Akuma thing, so. Hildebrand, you're the only one that knows how to snap him out of it. I don't even think Nashu's bombs will do it. So, you do what you have to.
Nod in the background, like that quick, frantic.
Here he goes. Well, here he goes. He's going to do it! Pile driver! Let's hope he snaps out of it. Because this worked before. Are you a Manderville man, Godbert? You must remember your heritage! Didn't Gilgamesh just almost kill you all, and then he just gets annihilated? Yes, that is the power of Godbert Manderville. That's what you're witnessing, the power of Godbert Manderville. He defies all logic, but only when he feels like it. Which is why we can't rely on him to save the world, because he might not feel like it today. But here is about 20 hours of Hildebrand quests coming to a head. You know what? You don't want the answer anymore. And that is precisely the conclusion you should have come to, because these quests have no answers for you. Only silliness.
This fucking flashback. This is so fucking stupid. I love it.
It'd be kind of funny if he was like having like TV static in his brain and then these were just slowly coming back in the background. Oh, baby Hildebrand. They were a nice family
without white
once.
hair.
They were a nice family once. A nice, happy family. I think, unless Julian regularly got up to, you know, child abuse before that. Goodbye, Hildebrand. Abort! Abort! Nashu, okay, I was gonna say get behind me, I'll diamond back, but it didn't do as much of an explosion as I thought it was going to.
I could not breathe during this part.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, you were just suffering from a drug overdose, so... Yeah, that's what happens when you drug overdose. This is so cursed. It is only cursed. And that's why we love it. I thought Timmy Turner had a bad family. Well, nobody commits abuse to Hildebrand unless it's his father doing slapstick. His mother never commits abuse to Hildebrand unless Well, yeah, I guess unless it's slapstick again. Most of the time, the abuse is between Godbert and Julian. So
Julian is the single strongest being in the Final Fantasy XIV universe.
that's true. She could kill Xenos about 5,000 times over if she wanted
She
to.
could kill Xenos by breathing on him.
If she wanted to. Again, that's why we can't
Yes.
rely on the Manderville family, because they may just not feel like it that day. So, yeah, you don't say. Okay, so Timmy's family is written to suck. The Mandervilles are, well, this. Yeah, this is the most cursed thing you've ever seen, and that's why we love it. Although, again, to be honest, these quests specifically, it almost feels a little stale. Like they're just kind of going through the motions with the Hildebrand stuff. Again, it's more of like the earlier Rome Reborn Hildebrand quests for me. That's what these feel more like. It's not like the Heavensward ones. The Heavensward ones were just... Every single quest, top notch, well written, slapstick, a whole bunch. Absolutely good. Would do them again. Oh, the Soburo Tsukihiro? Yeah. I suppose that makes sense. It was his sword, after all. Yeah, but a comedy family is almost worse than a family that's designed to suck. Nothing was well written here. You could argue that, yeah. Like I said, the Heavensward Hildebrand quest, though, top notch. The small doll that looks like Vivi that Cole got over there was one of the main characters, and he had a really sad story. Even though it was a lighthearted slapstick fest, he still had a sad story.
God,
Wait.
I really hope they bring him back in Endwalker.
Wait, he brought the sword with him. Why didn't we just raid his place?
The Grand Sirs were the only reason I didn't hate the Heavensward quest. Listen,
Gigi's
I
a
can't
treasure.
remember.
Okay.
I can't remember our reaction to when the guy Dragoon LB3'd and then died in midair.
Yeah, because he got too high in the upper atmosphere and he lost too much oxygen, so he couldn't breathe and he passed out and then he slammed into the ground. See, that's what I'm talking about, though, when I talk about the Heavensward Hildebrand quest, because it's like, no, look, this is logical, first of all. It's also really fucking funny. Especially to watch in motion. He jumped so high he lost oxygen, and because he's too old, he just passed out.
I have 69.9k.
Channel points? Nice.
Excuse me.
So I guess the Wolf Burglar is going... Did he say he was going back to prison? I haven't been paying attention. Nashi hasn't spoken once
Everyone
since we started
said
this quest.
Shigeru basically told them, "Hey, we haven't heard of you. You're free to go." Hildebrand gave him the sword back to put at his own father's grave.
Oh, okay.
So he just kind of left.
Okay. So he's a free man now. Fair enough.
This part is rather funny.
I don't know that Enkidu... Well, it depends on how much of him is left in your stomach at this point, Gilgamesh, but... Oh, look, it's Enkidu. He's okay. What did you eat, then? Because that looks like Enkidu. I don't know if I want to know what mystery meat you ate that day, because it wasn't green chicken, apparently. Sir, you've been defeated. Why would you... Okay. What? Oh, no. He just, overdosed Gilgamesh now. Well, that's unfortunate. I think he overdosed Gilgamesh anyway. Yeah,
This
he
part
did.
is quite ridiculous, so just pay attention.
What are you planning on doing with that? How do you know he can do that? Last I checked, he can't interdimensional travel himself. Exdeath had to do that to him last time. Greg, no.
Craig, no.
But which world will they go to? Find out never, because we're not doing those quests. Bye, Hildebrand. Nashu, are you sure? Okay, bye. Ah! And so ends the tale of Hildebrand. He went somewhere else. Yeah, I was gonna say, that's a portal to some other world. Are you sure you're okay with this? What
We'll be
is
aight.
Julian gonna say about this? You know, I think I should leave that to you. You're the expert. You're the one that married her.
You know, I was fully expecting Julian to walk out of from behind a rock, see all this happening, just look at Godbert and just say, "You let our son get away again." Inner release and just start chasing him as the quest closes out.
I wouldn't be shocked. Anyway, Akebono's going to jail, I think. So let's go find out by going with Shigure to the thing. She will end Godbird, yes. We will never see him again. He's dead. He is just a dead man walking at this point. Oh, don't even return.
This
I'm
is a death
teleporting.
threat.
You'll
Make
just
it
get the
stop. It's our last return to the stream. It's fine.
The quest's
This is
marker
death
has a
threat.
green checkpoint next to it. That means the quest is over after this. So there you go. What about that water sprite? He gets to live. I don't feel like KOing a water sprite because why would I? I don't want to kill things unnecessarily. He just vibing, just chilling.
So, Jimmy, would you like a summary of where Hildebrand goes from here?
After I read Marie's comments.
Okay.
So yes, hold on. He is free. Off topic, you might finally be able to start your new job very soon. It's only been 1 week and you were told the background check is almost done because there's nothing to find. Told the background check would take around 3 weeks. Guess what? When there's nothing to investigate, you'll never have a massive background check. Yes, exactly. So congrats, Marie. Hopefully the job gets going pretty soon for you. And hopefully it's better than the last one. Okay, Cole, go ahead. I'm just going to auto-scroll through these. I'll read them while you talk.
So, from here, Gilgamesh and the rest of them are stuck in the interdimensional rift. However, Hildebrand is nowhere to be seen. After a while, at least Nashu and that dickhead alchemist that tried to hypnosis Gilgamesh to get away from all of his crime managed to get out and come back. Wherein they find out that Hildebrand is now in a very similar position to the person in the first because his body made it back, but his spirit smelled the case in the first and so left his body.
Oh, good.
We then go to the first, and encountering some of the people who were Warriors of Light in those previous quests, we go off and deal with, and I quote, a Hildebrand that is convinced that he is a Sin Eater because he landed in the middle of all that crap that happened with the Warrior of Light in the previous one, got falcon punched by Giot and lived in a cliff. And the first thing he saw upon waking up was one of those horse Sin Eaters who was terrified of him and ran away because it was perched on top of his body as he was stuck in the side of a cliff. So now instead of being Zombie Brand, he thinks he's a Sin Eater, in which we then take on the role of Nashu and blow him the fuck up until he comes back to his senses.
Fun. So where
We
did
then
Nashu
end up
go?
shepherding him.
So-
We end up shepherding back to the source via the help of the alchemists in Thavnir, since this all takes place in Endwalker. And he ends up coming back and is fine and wants to go jump right onto a case because some lunatic in Thavnir is like he believes in aliens and believes he's spotted them. So we end up going to investigate these aliens, end up finding a boss from one of the Endwalker dungeons has returned with intentions to destroy the Warrior of Light by blowing him up with a giant missile. Hildebrand ends up saving you, but not before getting launched to the moon on said missile in which he deflects.
Yeah, that sounds about right. He already got shot to the moon out of a cannon back in 1.0, so...
And then we end up going to the moon, in which Hildebrand encountered those aliens because they're actually real, and having basically created a bunch of fake Hildebrands, the alien and Hildebrand have been going on a quest because the alien accidentally cloned him to destroy all of the fakes, and this results in you having to run around the moon after fake Hildebrand, who fucking disintegrates after Godbert, who fucking jumped to the moon to find his kid.
Naturally. I mean,
Suplexes
I would
the
do
fake,
that too
and he
if I had
dies.
to deal with Julian otherwise.
Also,
Like,
Hildebrand experienced the horrors of existentialism because he had to see another version of himself.
uh-huh. How did Nashu get out of the void?
Nashu came out of the void with the dickhead alchemist, whom she has been very kindly threatening into helping her get Hildebrand back. because the horrors of being exposed to the interdimensional rift warped his mind and kind of made him more terrified than anything else, and so now he's even more of a coward.
Uh-huh. Oh, look, the wolf burglar completed the Kugane jumping puzzle. Now I don't have to do it. Yay. What the fuck did you just hear? Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one, if I'm honest.
TLDR, Hildebrand proves the existence of aliens, goes to the moon, gets cloned, and then he gets
Okay.
all the clones get
Okay,
suplexed by his
wait
dad.
a minute. Now tell me nobody else just saw that in the bottom left corner next to that guy's shoulder. Oh, good. I get to do the Manderville Mambo. Finally. It's all I've ever wanted. And also, I can do it whenever I want now because I got this dance emote for finishing these quests.
Also the bird in the background.
And the Namazu. And the Keykern we rescued from slavery. Also, Julian's here, somehow. Even though at this point she should be killing her husband, but, you know. This is the stage dance anyway, so. Hildebrand will return, question mark? Yeah. He will return, but not for an entire X-Pack because COVID happened when they normally would have planned out his quests. Good night, sweet Hildy.
That is such a fucking perfect achievement to end this off on.
Also, the title that you get for doing this is the Sobero. And from what I understand, Sobero is I think it's some kind of a pastry dish, but from what I understand, the main ingredient and the point of it is that you put peanut butter in it. So I am the peanut butter to Hildebrand's sandwich. Okay, well, that's fitting enough. Anyway. Was this an act on stage? Is this the fucking Mario 2 thing? They never quite explain whether it's an act or real. Alright, so anyway,
Listen.
I'm sure you've got, like, a lot of catching up to do with Bayekko. Are you gonna vacation here, or do you have to go back to the Immortal Flames? What are they doing after this?
I already caught up with Bayeko. I'm gonna be heading back to the Immortal Flames.
Okay.
Hang on,
Because-
get my outfit back on.
Because I have a few other things to do, because in case you didn't notice it when I was working on the ninja, when you looked at my ninja job crystal, I have reached the natural limit of my abilities on these job crystals, so I need to go talk with my old pals who, you know, actually gave me these crystals in the first place to figure out if I can go further with them or if I'm fucked. So I'm gonna go do that.
Fair enough!
I will talk to you in a little while, and by that I mean you will still be here, but you can go off and do whatever you want now, because there are only 3 quests left. I'm gonna go do
Is
one.
one of them you hijacking the cannon?
Actually, that's technically the 4th quest.
Hmm.
The Kugane jumping puzzle hurts. It hurts! Put the fucking glow sticks down, Gilgamesh.
So, yeah, TLDR, everyone. Hildebrand goes to the moon. Godbert's powerful enough to jump from the surface of Hydaelyn to the moon.
Love makes you do powerful things.
Love is extremely powerful. So wait, am I free?
You are free, yes. You can do whatever you want now. All you gotta do is stay here until I hijack the cannon.
Hmm.
Yes.
Fair enough.
So you can go back to Jandalin and tell him to put your hair down again if you want.
Jandalin.
Be like, yeah, it was nice while I was in Kugane, but I kind of want the long hair back. And he'll be like, okay.
So, Lifeblood, if I ever decide to stream Endwalker, which is the next one, are you gonna show up to the stream specifically to tell me to stop?
To be second best. Couldn't be me. Let's find out who it is from Yamitra.
No.
No. Speaking of which, Yamitra, good to see you. Yeah, actually, a lot of stuff has happened, but she's back now. We got her back from the first. She got summoned to another world, and now she's back. Yes, that one. Yeah.
I find this amusing that one of the sisters of, like, one of the most important characters in the canon is just a quest NPC.
Mm-hmm. You'd think she would have
never know.
more of a role. And she did in Heaven's Ward! Sorry, I'll stop now. Anyway.
Jimmy over here on a constant, endless holy war to explain why Heaven's Ward is the best expansion.
You know what the worst part is? Is I go to bat for Heaven's Ward all the time, and I'd still only rank it at about a C for me. I enjoyed it, but it's like a low enjoyed because the gameplay mechanics were kind of too easy.
Have you considered that is because your standards are too high?
Have I considered that I'm just too good at this game?
God damn.
Yes, I remember Jaja-Samu. Oh, okay. Well, he's in luck because I'm in town. Sure, why not? I got nothing better to do for now. I will go see what is going on with Jaja-Samu, and then I will report back once I am done. Yo, but why isn't the aetheryte like right here? Because I always end up coming back in this section. I always have to walk all the way around to do it. How about you fucking stop your crusade before you start a rampage to destroy this game in its entirety? I wish you well and luck with that endeavor.
You have to fight the entire fandom.
Because I couldn't do it. I'm officially giving up. That's why I'm stopping the stream after this. This person in front of me is not strong enough to get the whatchamacallit, the racing chocobo mask. Which I got on my other character. They got the fat chocobo mask instead. Seems like a waste. I see a Jaja-Samu. Oh, look, there's the chocobo person again. They almost caught me. Yeah, I have a habit of showing up at the most convenient opportunities for people, so. Sounds easy enough to fight the fandom. They'll all die of their own body weight anyway. Damn, Lifeblood. Didn't have to bring obesity into the picture. Holy shit.
God damn!
That's not very nice. I mean, I suppose that was why you were saying it, but, you know. You need advice concerning summoners in Mortal Kombat. Well, I've been in Mortal Kombat many times lately, so that's true. Well, actually, that won't be a concern for much longer, Jaja-Samu, because your summoner's training is about to change. You're about to learn how to use familiars in order to cure tempering, because that's what all summoners will now do for all of the grand companies. I might have just been talking over your superiors. They might not have told you that yet, but that's what they do. Also, I guess I'm happy to help. I mean, I suppose so. It just sort of falls on me, you know? It's like somebody's got to do it. Bring everything in the picture. Y'all who enjoy this game need serious mental health. Damn. No, Cole's getting it. Oh, boy. Who did you join with on your last skirmish that's got you rethinking your life choices? Oh, yeah, I suppose that would make you reconsider your life choices, yes. Because you worked with Ehrenwald and Fordola. They're kind of important, yeah. Yes, I remember Ehrenwald. And I also remember Fordola. Like, a lot. She's complicated, that's a good way of putting it. It's not your first time insulting an entire fandom? Yeah, well, believe me. This... I don't like insulting people for the things they like. It's like, okay, you do your thing, I'll do mine. You know what I mean? We just let bygones be bygones. It's just when they hit back for me wanting it to let bygones be bygones where it's like, okay, that's not necessary, you know? Like, come on now. I'm letting you do your thing, I'll do mine. They still have her fighting for the Resistance? Well, she must be low on work lately, considering. Oh, okay. So they actually have been using them because primals have been summoned here in the source since we left. I mean, I guess that makes sense. And yeah, they also have the echo, so they don't get tempered, which is good. Well, no, I mean, that's kind of what you guys should be doing anyway, because you could get tempered, and that would just make things more complicated, because up until this point, tempering was incurable. You couldn't do anything about it. So, like, standing at a distance, I don't blame you for that one. I guess I could go talk to him for you. Sure, why not? I'm sure they'll have nothing bad to say. I mean, Fordola will bitch about it, but that's just who she is, so. So tempering is when a primal, so like Ifrit or Titan or any of those guys, influences the person and their ether so much that it causes them to basically lose their mind. It not permanently. Before it was permanent, but it alters their ether to be more attuned to the summon than balanced properly. But yes, we cured tempering in patch 5.4. Well, you still have to, do some ministrations with familiars to get them to not be tempered, but tempering is no longer an issue anymore, basically. So, like, people can get tempered, but as long as someone has a familiar that can untemper them, it's not a problem. It still means summoners have to be careful on the battlefield because they're often the ones with the familiars to cure tempering, but yeah. Doesn't explain much on what's happening. You kind of had to be here for Stormblood in order to know what Erenvald and Fordola's role is, and you kind of had to be here for Realm Reborn to know what Jajasamu's role is. But since I've been here for all of those things, these are kind of full circle things for me. So I understand where you're coming from, though. A story should stand on its own. But Cole, you've been quiet. You know Lifeblood didn't mean anything of what he said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Just letting you enjoy your quest while I'm alt-tabbed.
Oh, okay. Are you listening to Gil's remixes again?
Basically, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Anyway, let's go see Fordola in the dungeon.
The dungeon.
She's hard at work, as you can see. You should be careful, though, Fordola. You already use a sword, and that's bad enough for your wrist. Push-ups are only going to make it worse.
Fordola working on being built like a brick shit house every day.
I mean, what else is
on
she
that
going to do in
Saitama
here?
grind set?
What else is she going to do in here? She can't walk the mile that, or how many miles does Saitama run every day?
100 meters?
That sounds like too little. I feel like it's a mile every day, but I could be misremembering.
100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups. Hang on, I'm gonna look up the exact measurements.
Yeah, look up the measurements.
Fordola
so
isn't
that I know.
thick, she is brick.
And that is so much better. I mean, she's basically like 160 pounds of pure muscle.
100 kilometers.
Oh, is it 100 kilometers? Okay. That's a ton. Is that a good guy or a bad guy? So Fordola used to be a bad guy. She was a minor antagonist in Stormblood, but now she's reluctantly a good guy because otherwise she would be hanged for her crimes. So yeah, well, I suppose that would make it easier. You'd feel like you'd carve a place out in the world, And I suppose that would add weight to it, yes. It was 300 of everything else and 1 banana. Okay, there you go. I mean, you'd need the banana after that point. Potassium is pretty good for any joint pains you'd have after all of that workout. So. And also, it wouldn't cost him very much money, and I know half of Saitama's entire shtick is that he has no money, so.
Despite being the most competent person in the entire hero organization, they somehow continually find reasons to not pay him. The most recent reason is, hilarious.
I was going to say, it's almost like you two are starting to care for each other for all the times you've worked together on the battlefield. Where do I even start, Fordola? So, I got summoned to a different dimension. Does that start it out pretty good for you to give you an idea of where I've been lately? Yeah. It's some shit, right? I mean, if I am a liar, I'm pretty damn good at it at this point. I don't think you want to follow the path I walk, Erenvald. This path sucked. I had to kill so many people. I had to kill so many animals. I wouldn't cross that bridge, man. She doesn't seem like the kind of person that would take that well. Didn't he stop Tatsumaki destroying the whole headquarters and they still didn't pay him? That sounds like bureaucracy. Yeah, I was going to say, technically she's got a point, though, Ehrenwald, because you got the echo from the Mother Crystal just because. Fordola is resonant.
Did not ask for that.
She actually did ask for it, and then when she got it, she was like, holy fuck, this is awful. How do I get rid of it? And they said, well, you can't. So fuck you. But, you know, I can get behind the way that she feels about all this. She's making the most out of her, you know, awful, awful situation. So I guess I can't blame her for it. Saitama's the whole reason the Hero Association exists. I mean, yeah, they probably wouldn't be in business anymore without him, so. Excuse me. Thanks for letting us in there, good sir or madam. Okay, I'll wait for Ehrenwald then. He's probably got, you know, important things to say to Fordola. Consummate their mutual love for one another. That'll never happen. I mean, she is chained after all. I won't say she's a dog, but she is chained in there. And she needs a friend like you anyway, Ehrenwald, because she's very gloomy, so she needs somebody who always sees the sunshine in situations, and that seems to be the kind of person you are, so. No, that's fair, man. Hey, I'm not going to judge you for it. Alright, will do. Thanks for the info. They'll be alright. With those two in hand, I think they'll be alright. I mean, it would help, obviously, if the other summoners that were around had some measure of the echo, but you never know. There are other heroes who have the echo that we've journeyed with that we haven't seen lately. Maybe they'll decide to lend a helping hand with the whole curing tempering thing. I don't know why I'm using the Ethernet. I could just walk the 5 feet, but, you know.
You could. But why would you?
Because it's about the same distance as me doing this, honestly. But, whatever. I already did it. You mean literally he's the reason why the Hero Association exists? Okay, see, I don't know that part of the lore. So, you like this questline? It was controversial with the community, though. People said that Fordola didn't deserve a happy ending because people still see her as evil and an irredeemable villain. Bruh.
Well, those people are fucking stupid.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Are these the same people who liked Yotsuyu as a villain? Because they're wrong.
Listen, the 14 community is whack to me. Because they're literally head over heels for people like Elidibus and Emmett. Like, oh, we feel so bad for them. They're so tragic. And then somebody like Fordola, it's like,
no, fuck
bruh.
Fordola. She doesn't deserve It's like, what are you talking about? She's a better written villain than almost anyone else in Stormblood. What the fuck? Okay, whatever.
Fascinating.
Yes,
Thank God I'm part of the minority where I'm not part of that insane part of the community.
It's the same kind of people. The 14 community is insane in your eyes. I just feel like in some cases, like, the way that Square Enix writes sometimes, I feel like they just, I've talked about it before, I feel like they take advantage of people who are emotionally vulnerable by using cheap story tricks to get a sad moment out of people. And I just don't agree with that, because those sorts of things need to have setup and payoff, you know? But...
Remember the kid he saved before he was a hero and had hair? It's the kid of the founder of the Heroes Association. Oh,
okay, there you go.
I remember that now.
Hey, pretty soon you'll be the first best summoner in Eorzea Jaja-Samu because, well, I have a plan.
I have a plan, Arthur.
I will give my best, or your best, to Ymitra. I'll also give my best to Ymitra because, well, I have a plan.
I have a plan, Arthur.
I don't know what that's
Even
from, but...
Desert Eagle chambered in 50 Action Express.
I don't know where that's from, but yeah, that. Okay, let's go finish this quest with Ymitra. 2 more to go. The last one's in Ishgard, and even though Ishgard is technically closer to Gridania than Limsa is, the last quest we'll be doing is quite literally called Our Closure, and I don't think there's a more appropriate title for a final quest, so...
Yep. Yep.
You're not a part of the 14 community for a reason. Yeah, fair enough. I don't think they'd
I have
ever
a plan,
accept me.
Arthur. I just need 50 million in taxpayer stimulus.
I'm starting to think this is from King of the Hill.
No, we're going back and forth for Badger references.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I kind of gave Jajisamu some stuff to think about, but he can adjust his tactics accordingly now because he knows the people he's working with. Well, you don't have to be envious, because if I have anything to say about it, Ymitra, you're going to be joining them soon. Because I'm giving you my soul crystal. Here you go. You can have it. You don't have to use it right away. It's not really something that necessarily... You could choose to never use it at all. That's okay. But all of the lessons that I've learned as a summoner across all of my journeys are tapped into in that crystal. At some point in time, there may come a moment where that knowledge is needed again, whether it's a part of your Elegant research or it's a part of helping Jajisamu and the rest of them cure tempering on the battlefield. And honestly, you've been with me on this journey since the beginning. I can't think of anybody better to inherit the legacy of that soul crystal than you. So use it well, Ymitra, and I will give your best to Stola the next time I see her. Though frankly, at the rate I'm going, you'll see her before I do. You might have to stop watching and alt-tab and do something else once I do Arc Closure. That quest nearly fucking broke you. It hits a little too close to home for you. Yeah, well... It's a Dark Knight quest, so it's one of those. You know how those...
As we all know, Dark Knight quests are loads the gun.
Oh yeah, before I forget, I have to delete the gear set as well, because just because I gave her my soul crystal doesn't mean I have to get rid of all evidence of my summoner abilities because I gave her the soul crystal. So there you go. All right, to Limsa for the next one. You never see Y'shtola. We will not see her again for the rest of this playthrough. That is true.
I should DM Cole. Cole will be ready.
Uh-oh.
I am ready.
Oh, no. You will probably not care about it, and we'll shit-talk it. That's fine. I don't mind. I
Don't
enjoyed...
shit talk when Jimmy hijacks the fucking cannon to end this.
I enjoyed the Dark Knight quests, though, all things considered. It's just, again, they were written by the same person who wrote the main scenario for Shadowbringers, and I swear she is way better at short storytelling than she is at long-form storytelling. And I can't imagine the kind of pressures that she was under when she had to write the entire main scenario for Shadowbringers when all she did before that was side quests, but, like, you need to give her some space. Because, yeah... Let her write the short form stuff that she's good at. I already beat that guy in Triple Triad, or else I would play that as our one last Triple Triad match. Instead, we have to go up to the Marauders Guild, but not to maraud things. We have to go see my boy Alcazolka for the level 80 Scholar quest. True Beauty. What's up, Alcazolka? Yeah, long time no see. Been a while since you guys basically comprised half of the side quests that we did in Stormblood. I can't believe how well that all wrapped around, too, with the Scholar quests, with all the extra A Realm Reborn dungeons we never did. We just really hit it with Stormblood in terms of the convenience of everything happening in the order it did. Yeah, well, I gotta imagine that some things have gotten embellished along the way. If you want me to tell you the whole story, I can, but...
As we all know, stories, especially ones told from one Rory Pellegrin, tend to be a little embellished. Tiny bit.
Just a smidge.
So, just a smidge.
Would just be better if someone would proofread this shit. Yeah, that would probably help, because then someone can say, hey, wait, this doesn't make sense. And then they could fix it. Man, it's like we're on the same wavelength. You think that too. Well, I'm glad. It's good to be on the same wavelength as people. Oh, you're going to see Cerrito? Well, then I'm going to go with you, because he'll probably want to know about the fact that I almost destroyed my body by absorbing too much light ether.
I'm sure he'll be very happy about that.
I'm sure he will. He'll be like, did you learn nothing from Amdapor? what is wrong with
learned
you? And I'll be like,
nothing from M4.
and I'll be like, I know. I didn't have a choice. The story writers wouldn't let me use the satellite beam. Alright, back to Camp Bronsley. I'm choosing to walk for now, just because I figure at this point... I mean, I guess I could go on Mizuko, because... let's just assume at this point that I already sent Quinfucius ahead to Ishgard. He's had a long day. He needs to go see St. Quethrin again. It's been a while.
Fair enough.
Good luck, Mr. Yellow Jacket. Here, have an Adlo. Oh, I can't give him an Adlo because I'm too high of a level for him. Well...
That poor bastard.
He's dead. Those water skippers are going to eat him for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Quick, end the stream so he won't die.
Yeah, really. This is why you kind of hate the fact of self-protagonists, because it's always kind of bullshit. Yeah, see, that's the thing, too, is that, like, and that was the thing I was talking about before, where the game lacks a little more agency now. Before this, it was kind of like, there weren't a lot of choices to be made in the game world where your choice would specifically make a difference. Now they give you choices like there's different ways the character can do things, but all of the major story beats, it's like they want you to do this specific thing. There's no agency to it, you know what I mean? So it's, yeah. Yeah, and I think I prefer it too when it's just their own characters. You know, like most of the time, if it's like a self-insert character, usually I self-insert as a joke, or if the game doesn't have a lot of story to begin with. So, yeah, I figured I'd stop by. Haven't seen you in a while. And look at that, the other Tonberry is also here, because here's Satoto.
Oto.
What's up, Satoto? How have you been? Oh, we're going through the exercises again? The Nymean Marine training? This is just a reunion of Nymean Marines. He's got a knife! Yes, he does. They're Tonberries.
He's got a gun! Oh, no.
They're Tonberries. They always have knives. Okay. They only hurt you with them if you really deserve it. Oh, yeah, I suppose not being able to summon the fairy that we got you back in the last quest would be kind of a bad thing.
A tiny bit.
He's got a gun, and he doesn't know how to use it! Any progress on that matter, Cerrito? I gave you the Amdapori crystal last time, after all. Oh, yeah, I suppose I should tell you all about my trips to the first, because that was a whole lot of fun. Giat's growth or Lamet's journey? We should probably talk about Giat, because why would I not?
So there was this Lalafell.
She drank a lot, and that's how I found out she was the first version of Rory. The end.
So wait.
Yeah, they worked it out, Alcazolka. Yeah, I guess in a way, because he also worked to save, well, all of you with the Amdapori crystal, so. I guess in a way I did. I don't think I'd want to take the trip again, but I guess I did get some insight out of it. 10,000 points for anyone who got that reference. I've heard that he's got a gun part, but I don't know the rest of it, so I guess I'm out of the running. Now, don't cheat anybody. Don't look it up on Google now.
Another knife.
He's got another knife. Well, that's a good point, yeah, actually. Maybe we can cure the Nymean plague in a similar way that we cured the stone, that we cured the stone blade. A high concentration of ether. Why don't we use the Amdapori crystal? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I've already done this once. Worst comes to worst, it doesn't work. But this is also full circle, because you've been spending the entirety of the Scholar quests talking about Stoneblight and how it has affected the Tonberries, and it's basically been incurable. And now you're going to cure it, or at least attempt to. So again, I like this quest specifically because it solves a problem that has literally been plaguing this quest line for hundreds of hours at this point. Yeah, it gives you the closure that you desperately craved. Yeah, it does. It gives closure to the rest of the Scholar quests, which is why I like it quite a bit. Like the Summoner one, it's not bad. It's just kind of like cameo appearances for characters that didn't really get a story in Shadowbringers. This is like actual genuine closure for the characters that have been in this quest line. So. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I happen to know a few expert goldsmiths. I kind of am one, but we could always go to... Oh, no, that's fine. I can go to Snake Mold to get the reagents we need. And then we can head to the Goldsmiths Guild so I can say hi to Serendipity one last time.
Well, there was level 80 gathering quests.
I've been waiting for this ending since Heaven's Ward. Did you finally get to level 80 on Botanist?
I might have.
You know, I can find out.
Maybe.
View search info. You lied to me. I checked. You lied to me.
You lied to me.
Yeah, that. Anyway, off to Camp Tranquil. Right over by Amdapur Keep. Been waiting for this ending since Heaven's Ward. Yes, exactly. It's one of those things. It's like they played the long game and now they're, you know, finishing it all up. Okay, Mizuko, you can't really go for a swim round here, but you could probably go to the North Shroud and, you know, go for a swim in the lake by Fulgured Float. You feel like the Joker here, just doing your own bullshit. Just doing what you feel like, you know. Oh, there is fighting here. Oh my god. I didn't realize there was actually something to fight in these quests. Well, Eos, one last time. Let's do it to it. Let's see what we've got. Okay, hello there. That's a big tree. And causing as much inconvenience as you can, just like this tree ant, as it turns out. I'm gonna go behind him, so I don't, like, run into a wall and have nowhere to go. Yeah, it's a bit strong for this particular area. The rest of the enemies are, you know, level 37. This guy's level 80. People going through this area are gonna be like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, I use Ruin 2 when moving, because, I mean, it's the one thing Scholar really has over a lot of the other healers is mobile DPS, you know? Like, you gotta use it. It's, why not play one of the other healers if you're, you know, if you're not gonna use Ruin 2, then why not just play, I don't know, Sage or something? I guess Sage has mobile DPS as well, but I think you have to earn it, don't you? How does Sage's mobile DPS work? Like, you have charges of Phlegma, and then you have to earn your Toxicons, right?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay. Alright, Eos, I think that takes care of that. Do you want to see this through? You know what? You can come with me. Let's see this whole thing through. We've been in this since, you know, like episode number 18 of A Realm Reborn, so let's see this through to the end, shall we? Oh, look, he's having a little help with the water skippers this time. They really did throw a battle into the healer quest. Yes, they did, and it surprised me because there was no battles in the samurai quest, and that's a DPS. It's like, what the hell? But, I mean, I guess it makes sense. We need a reagent from that tree ant that is somehow level 80 despite being in the source. Don't question, only consume. Over every healer. You miss Ruin 2 so fucking much on every other healer. Yeah, I probably would too. Phlegma has 2 charges and it's on a 40-second cooldown. Toxicon requires Adder Sting, which, yeah, your shield needs to be broken on a target. Okay, see, I don't know anything about how Sage works, so I wouldn't know. Cole, is that another Badger reference?
I think so.
Consume Prilosec? Because I know what Prilosec is, actually. I've seen commercials for it when I watch TV with my dad.
My dad.
I have the reagents you need, Sarito. Almost called you Satoto. I guess Satoto needs them, but you have to, you know, mix the reagents up still, so. Oh, it's a Game Grumps reference? Okay. Yeah, I haven't watched Game Grumps since like 2013, so I wouldn't know that one. Oh, you went straight to Godbert for that one. Wow, he moves fast. He got all the way back here. I guess Julian probably realized that he lost their son and whacked him across the horizon all the way back to Eorzea, so he had to take a bath in Camp Bronze Lake again. Fair enough. Before the buff of giving Max Addersting when you enter a new instance, Sage had a lot of wind-up time. Yeah, I could see it if they didn't get any Toxicon to start with. I mean, it's salamander oil. What's the worst that could happen? It can't change the reagents all that much. Oh.
Turns into a fucking Rogadin.
How problematic are we talking here, Cerrito? Yeah, now you start with 3 instead of starting with nothing. Well, that's fair enough. But I don't want to destroy you! I mean, we'll have to, but I wouldn't enjoy it. They look like some enemies from Zelda, these spirits. Yeah, these Tonberries. I guess I can kind of see it, I think. I haven't played enough Zelda to really put the nail on the head with it, but... So they're wearing clothes, which is not something that Tonberries normally do. They normally just have a little cloak that they wear, but... That's because these Tonberries used to not be Tonberries. They used to be actual people. They might get to be people again if we keep this up. I mean, that's true, but I don't think Alcazulca's gonna like that. You have a point, but... Honestly, if Critlo wasn't so fucking busted with deployment tactics, you wouldn't actually say that Sage is inferior to Scholar in most ways. Oh, never mind. You can't spread Critlo anymore. No, but you still get a larger shield. I mean, you can't spread the Critlo, but you still get a larger shield out of a Critlo than you do out of a normal Adloquium, don't you? So I guess you still get a bigger shield. It's just not as big as, you know, a Critlo, a Galvanize. Or not a Galvanize, a Catalyze. Okay, well, fair enough. Listen, this has got to be something that you two decide together. If you ever hope to have a relationship after all of this is happening. Alka, I think you need to go after her. I understand you're doing that, but you're also potentially denying her from helping to solve the cure for all of her people. So... Maybe we should all take a step back. How the fuck has Scholar gotten nerfed every fucking expansion? You discussing a game you never touch again. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, you spread the 180% shield instead of just a 2-time shield. The original target gets 280% shield, so it's still weaker by a tad. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so Cerrito here is a Tonberry, but a male Tonberry. Satoto was a female Tonberry. Well, and that's fine. It's hard to read gender with Tonberries because they all look, well, I hate to be racist, but they all look the same. So. Yeah, that would help, wouldn't it? Do you think that's why she's volunteering, or? Yeah, I don't think I'd want to put him through that. Okay, I'll go see if I can check on her. In the Long Climb. Over by the fallen city of Nime. Yeah, Cerrito's a dude. Alcazulca's a dude. Satoto is a girl. So, there you go. Yeah, the Tonberry and the magic hat, the black mage hat, was female. Yep. Yeah, and the dwarf was a dude. Yep. He just keeps his hair up in a knot because it's out of his face. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Dear Lord, you're good at misgendering. Oh, like I said, don't worry about it. It's easy to do with tonberries, and to be fair, most Lalafell look pretty similar unless you look at their eyes anyway, so.
Lifeblood is just getting his mind blown this stream.
Well, no, I think it's fair that you should volunteer for this, but I don't think that, yeah, you should volunteer if you're trying to do it specifically because you'd rather not live as a Tonberry anymore. Like, I understand that it sucks being a Tonberry, but if you're doing this because, yeah, because you love Alcazolka, what if he has to kill you? Well, I knew that already. Anyone with a brain could see that from doing the Stormblood quests. Hey, listen, the Reaper clan has already become public, Satoto. Voidsent and humans are shacking up like crazy in Eorzea, and I'm sure it's going to spread to the rest of the world soon enough, but... I mean, it's probably better that you not cause your children to have the Rancor, and I don't even know if Tonberries are compatible with Lalafell, so maybe it's better if we do get you back. Well, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I suppose if you were, since you were younger when it afflicted you, you'd be able to, you'd have a better immune system to deal with it, so Cerrito might be a little bit different because he's a little older. So. Okay, and that's also a good sign. What do their eyes have to do with this? Male Lalafell eyes are not as rounded as female Lalafell eyes, so that's a quick way of telling whether a Lalafell is male or female. So she was in love, Seka. In the blacksmith questline, fell in love. Like, holy shit. Same story everyone knows about the love except the people themselves. Classic. Rare to see a girl that can just admit she's in love. Oh, you can't see the burning wall in that shot, bro. Don't even. You watch way too much anime. I mean, it is pretty tropey, but They built up to it, you know what I mean? They've had multiple quests to simmer on this relationship, so. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I know the feeling. I just don't want you to make this decision for the wrong reason, that's all. Girl in love is a completely different animal, don't you fucking dare. It gets complicated, yes, that's true. Okay, let's go speak with the others then. It's like you can tell the gender of a horse by their teeth. See, I didn't know that, actually. I wasn't aware. I did learn something new today, though. I learned that sheeps have flat backs, and if they end up falling on their backs, you need to help them not be on their backs anymore, because if they stay on their backs for too long, they will literally die.
That's true.
Like, they basically get paralyzed because they're herd animals, and I imagine it was a selective breeding thing to make it easier so that... It's like fainting goats, right? Like, fainting goats were specifically selectively bred so that they would literally fall down paralyzed. The wolf that was hunting for the goats would eat just that goat, and then the rest of the goats that produce milk would be fine. It's kind of an asshole thing to do to the goats, if you ask me, but... I mean, those were different times, so it's hard to say. But... yeah, sheep have a similar thing where if they're on their backs, they're just basically paralyzed and in shock, and you have to flip them over, or basically their circulatory system just stops working after a while. It's kind of dark. No one asked the goats, so no one cares. But I like fainting goats, and they don't deserve bad things to happen to them.
That's true.
There's a fainting goat farm on the way to my university, actually, at one point. We never did end up going there, but we always planned on going there at one point. So I don't think I'll be able to go there with my college friends anymore, but maybe I can take my kids there. Gotta have kids first, though.
Understandable.
She's probably the most likely candidate to succeed, to be fair. So. Wait, they have fins. Yeah, they have like little fins on their tails, basically. So. I don't know if that makes it easier for them to swim or if it's just kind of an accent thing. I don't know. She wouldn't have it any other way, even if it pains you to do it. Oh, look, Relics is playing. Yeah. Because this is like the apotheosis for these characters, you know? So, what is this creature? Is it the same one as Vivi? I don't think it was ever confirmed or denied what exactly Vivi's, like, species was. I mean, his species, I guess, is just Black Mage, but, you know, I don't think they ever confirmed if he was a Tonberry or not. So, I'm gonna say no. Yeah, Vivi is Vivi. It's kind of hard to distinguish Vivi from something else as other than just being a Black Mage, you know? Hell, Black Mages might honestly be an actual species in Final Fantasy IX. Like, based on how the game's world and monsters work. They're a synthetic species, but, you know. Okay, and then I just need to cast a bunch of ether into the focus, and that should bathe her body in the magics that cured Stoneblight, or not Stoneblight, cured the, cured Stoneblight, so then it'll hopefully cure, her ether of the Rancor. Yeah, Black Mage is normally a class, not a species. That's true. Just in the case of Final Fantasy IX, they're like an entire group of people, basically. So I guess it could be a culture in addition to being a class. They're not human, that's the point. So, alright, Eos.
Hearts on its own special crack.
You're already here, so let's have you and Lily work on this. Let's see what we can do. For a Black Mage, he knows how to make a fucking sword in KH2. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts is on its own special crack. That's true. Okay, potion is drank. Rancor is spreading. That's the destabilization we were looking for, so now. Alright, let's do this, Eos. Channel that healing. Yeah, hold that crystal up, Alkazolka. We'll just channel through it. Hang in there, Satoto! You're almost through to the other side, I think. This is the first time I've done this for a Tonberry, so it's a little different for me. But then it's also a little different for you since, well, when the lake clears, we can see that it worked! She's back to normal. She's not a Tonberry anymore. Hooray! Nice work, Eos. And now you know why Tonberries are all tiny in Final Fantasy XIV, because they all used to be Lalafels. This is such a nice moment, though. I'm glad for the both of them. Surprisingly, Revolutions really fits in the background there, even though it's the Stormblood motif. It really fits that scene. Well, I'm glad you do. Yeah, seeing the results of your labor, it's a lot different from just the, you know, theory crafting of it. And as it turns out, yes, we do have a cure for the Nemean Plague now.
Congratulations.
I just cured a 2-era-old disease. It's like I never stopped being awesome. Yeah, I'm sure it does inspire you to train with even greater fervor, because now you have a literal Lalafell girlfriend to protect. Of course he is, Satoto. I mean, it's Alkazolka. Can you expect anything less? Well, yeah, you got your whole life ahead of you. Might as well enjoy it. I hope to see the day that you summon Lilac properly. Alright, well then you do that. Have fun, Satoto! Moving on, don't care. Let's just end this. One quest left after this. I think this is the end right here. Yep. Lily screamed finally after we got this moment. I mean, he has a few more soul crystals left. 2 era, never mind, it has been an astral and an umbral era. Yeah, that's true. I think I was thinking that there was like one in between. Because this happened like in the 5th era, right? Or was it the 6th? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Already forgot that he's a dude. I hope that you see that day sooner rather than later, Sarito. Hate for this to end up like Drachma, where you finally find some measure of peace and then you just drop dead because you're too old. I'm gonna miss Drachma.
Understandable.
I'm gonna miss Cerrito. I'm gonna miss the Scholar quests, frankly. Alright, Eos. Head back to the Fey Union. Let them know what we've done here. Tell them I won't be seeing them for a while. Well, really, ever, but they'll probably have some work in the future, because if I have anything to say about it, Satoto and Alcazulca will be a little closer than they've been shortly. So what's up with the knife? That's the biggest question here for you. So all Tonberries in the Final Fantasy universe carry around kitchen knives, and they use them to stab people. That's it. It hurts like a motherfucker. In every game it
Tonberry
happens.
knives are so powerful they defy reason.
I mean, hell, there was a Humbaba in Final Fantasy XIII that was at least the size of a small skyscraper, and a Tonberry killed it with one kitchen knife swing. So, yeah. That's how strong they are.
Yeah, you don't fuck with Tonberries.
I can go to the barracks after this, so. The barracks are for Ninja. I gotta end Scholar first. 6. This happened during the Mage Wars between Amdapor and Mahak. Then they fucked up the world with the flood that consumed the world. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. I was misremembering then, because I thought that was the 5th. It's literally a move called Throat Stab in this game. Yep. And actually, I have a move like it from the Wanderer's Palace anyway. I have Sharpened Knife. So, on Blue Mage, that is. Okay, Blauthada, you're the guild receptionist for the Marauders Guild. I know that. But I'm sure you've seen Alcazulca and Satoto around. There they are right there. I want you to do me a small favor.
I think I found my new favorite thing.
What's that?
Music sync.
Ah. Like
up to
what?
like ludicrous fights.
For what? What? Like, give me an example.
I'm just watching like perfect parry montages in fucking Metal Gear Rising where the music syncs up.
Oh, okay. What loopy land have you entered again? I don't know. Lifeblood Tonberries have been in almost every Final Fantasy game, so how much Final Fantasy have you played? That's the question. Anyway, Blauthada, I'm sorry, I got off topic. I want you to do me a small favor. At some point in time in the future, probably around when Alcazulca's birthday is, you would know what his birth date is because you're the receptionist, so you have that paperwork. I want you to give him this. Just trust me, he'll find the gift more than acceptable. Hell, it'll bring him closer to his new girlfriend, so I can't think of a better birthday gift. He'll thank me later, but don't worry about it. Just tell him it's from a friend. Okay. Now off to the aft castle to see my adventuring crew one last time. I haven't seen them since the beginning of Stormblood, I think. Hell, they're not even my crew anymore. They've moved on to a new captain. I wonder if he still lives in my old house. Well, we haven't seen Jarek this playthrough, but that's okay. He's been busy. 5th Umbral Arrow was... You think that was the blizzard that froze over the world? Wait a second. Wind, then thunder, then fire, then earth, then ice, then water. I think that was the order. That sounds about right. So, alright. Crew, I have returned. I'll keep this brief because it looks like you're all coming in from after a... probably some other duty that you've been in because you all look exhausted. So here's what we're doing. I'm just back because they are retiring my uniform. And what I want you all to do, they already framed up my Storm Captain's katana. I want you to frame my Storm Officer's knives and this soul crystal with them as well. If a ninja comes by named Obero and he wants to take it back, that's fine. He's the rightful owner of it. But just frame it up with all of that, because at some point in time, someone will need them, and that someone will not be me. I have reached the end of my rope. With my ninja capabilities, I learned all I could, and it's about time to pass that knowledge on to a new era. Maybe even one of you. Hell, try it out, why not? Maybe it's like the sword and the stone. Somebody will take it out. Ooh, and I'm forgetting to do this as well. So let me do this too. Eliminate all evidence. Leave nothing behind.
Should sell your gear too.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go, crew. Tell Captain Atolma I said hello, and continue your work till sea swallows all. Sergeant, you keep them in line as you always do. I don't gotta tell you how to do your job. You're good enough at it to begin with. Okay, that's 3 out of 4. Only 1 soul crystal left to bury. And I know where I'm gonna bury this one, but before we do that, we gotta go back to Ishgard. Oh look, somebody's in a Tonberry outfit. Wonder if that's on the Mog Station now. 'Cause it looks new. You know for a fact Third Calamity was fire, since that should have been the one that ended the Elegans. Jesus fuck, the Elegans ended 4 calamities ago and they're still fucking up the world. They left a lasting legacy, that's for sure.
One could say that.
Just a bit. Okay. Off to Ishgard. For the last quest. Want to play as a featureless small thing? So as a Lalafell? I don't know, let's ask Cole. How's your experience been with playing as a Lalafell?
I enjoy all of the head pats.
Fair enough. Oh yeah, airships are a thing. You forgot again. I always travel by airship. I don't know why. It just feels better to me than, you know, teleporting everywhere. My ether probably would thank me for it. Sidurgu, Riel, good to see you. I heard you guys got something that I might be interested in. A letter, huh?
Oh,
Is a
here we go.
Lalafell featureless? Maybe you need to target more specific. Oh, with a knife and so like a Tonberry. Play as a Tonberry. I mean, I'd be okay with that. Why not? It's kind of silly,
Class
right?
just one.
It's kind of silly,
Tonberry.
right?
Wait, they released a Tonberry outfit recently. Put it as your blue mage glamour. Just go around spamming knife.
Yeah, pretty much. So.
Knife.
Sometimes you teleport. Sometimes you ride between places on mounts. You forget airship travel used to be the only thing. Yeah. I don't even remember that time because I wasn't in the game at that point in time. Oh, do you now, Sidurgu? Yeah, well, where do I even start? It went and saved another world. Also had to kill a host of Sin Eaters. It's been a time, that's for sure. This sounds like it might be easier if you're a couple of cups in. Would that make this make more sense? Probably not, right? Yeah, maybe I had more detailed explanations in order. So I'll explain it all to you, but I'll fade the black screen so that I can do it all off screen, and then you can just be knowledgeable of it. Are you stretching?
Yep.
I should stretch too.
Hang on. There we go.
There we go. Could teleport, you think? Oh, the only travel method that wasn't teleporting. Okay. Yeah, because that would make sense, because they probably had return points, like, at the very beginning of the game, so. Yeah, that's about the long and short of it, Sidurgu. I don't have an insatiable hunger for it. The universe just hates me. But I go with it anyway, because what else am I going to do? That is actually not true. I don't know where you're getting this from. I mean, I suppose I have kind of done the light and dark thing, you know. Bottoms up, chug it! I don't have enough water for that. Well, I have more than enough water for that, but also, unless you want me to get up and use the restroom before this is over, I don't think we want that. We want this done soon rather than later. Yeah, it took a while, but we managed it. I almost died, but we managed it. Well, I do have a tendency to not die even when the universe wants me to die, so. Yeah, being edgy will only get you so far, Sidurgu. You also have to love something in order to fight for something. And I already know what I love, so in this universe.
Read the actual quest in between objectives. It will make the knife go in further.
I will do so. I'd sooner pose that question to Sidurgu. Who do you love, Sidurgu? I mean, I already know. Alright. I don't think I even want to know what Thancred has to say about that, but anyway. As the show once said, plot armor detected. They can take it off after this episode. I'm not the main character anymore after this episode. Well, I mean, you saved Riel, so it's not like looking in a mirror, but it's adjacent. Oh boy. You're just inserting your foot deeper, Sidurgu. Maybe just stop talking now. Let's not put a label on it. How about that? Well, you two should work that out. I'll read the letter while you two work that out. Sure. Let's see it. Oh, they sealed it in some nice ink, too. Or, you know, a wax seal, rather. Lunny. Okay, fair enough. She's correct, anyway. Well, yeah, the seal isn't broken, so of course she didn't, you know, check it. You go do that, Sid. I wish you luck. In the meantime, I will check my quest markers, objectives. Unsigned letter. After sparing a few moments to chat about your extraordinary adventures in the first, Sidurgu informs you that he has come into possession of an anonymous letter addressed to you. Out of respect for your privacy, he has refrained from opening it, and after he takes his leave to chase after a rather annoyed Riel, you are left alone to read it. But if you're reading this, then you know how the story goes, don't you? So now comes the choice. Hold the crystal close that we may enjoy these moments together, or put it away and pretend I was never a part of it, that I was never really here. Alright, Frey, let's see what you've got cooked up this time. Strangely familiar, huh? I mean, I know canonically when this letter was written, but I can't talk about when it was written and who wrote it until the quest is over, so. Jimmy Grayston, you'll forgive me for the sudden correspondence and the secrecy. You helped me in a way. Once upon a time, it's past time I said as much, and so here we are. Feels like a lifetime ago, come to think on it. You've been through quite a lot since then, accomplished incredible things. I'd like to think that in some way I was a part of your journey. You were, I couldn't get rid of you if I wanted to. Far from the best, no doubt, but for me and my own journey, I think it's safe to say that you've been... well, there's no suitable words to describe it, really. I've done things, made decisions. We all have. Looking back, I can't help but feel more than a little foolish, but such is life, and we have to seize what few opportunities we have for closure, even if it's through the written word and not face to face. So wherever you are, I hope you're happy. Still fighting, still adventuring, still doing what you love. Be well. No signature. What was that description? You kind of had to be here for the rest of the Dark Knight quests, but basically, have you played Persona 4? Because that'll give you a hint. You instantly know who it is, but dude, the quest descriptions. So here's the letter. The cryptic letter speaks for itself. Perhaps Lunny, the woman who delivered it to Sidurgu, might be able to shed light on this mystery, or at least help you go through the motions and put one foot in front of the other. Over and over again. Off you trot. You have played Persona 4? Good. So you know what the main conflict is for the characters in that game, aside from, you know, the fact that somebody's been killing people in their town. They always have to face their shadows, the true selves. That's my Dark Knight crystal. That's my shadow, the true self. You see this skill, Living Shadow, right here? I summon my dark side to kill things with that skill. I got it at level 80. Is it like your true self who wrote the letter? I'll explain when I think it was written at the end of the quest. Let's go through the motions first.
Lunny.
I'm sorry I don't remember you, Lunny. When did I save you? I'm sorry, that sounds so mean. Oh, okay. So I say that was way back then. That was probably in like the level 35 Dark Knight quests or something. 40? God, it's been so long. Well, good to hear. Ishgard's been turning a corner, that's for sure. Actually, I came to see you about this letter I got recently. I guess I got it from you. Well, you got it from somebody, and then I got it from you. And it's not signed. I kind of figured it wasn't you. Sir Patronod, okay. That is a very flowery description of me, yes. I kind of dislike it as a result, so. Was it in the tutorial quest? Yeah, that might actually be true, yeah. Because I do remember us breaking into the church and like, killing a few people in the level 30 quest, yeah. So. Dark Knight's quests were like, basically like playing Doom in Final Fantasy XIV.
There were so many times where you just had Black Air Force energy, where you just, the solution is commit violence.
Mm-hmm. Basically, yeah. It was that kind
of Dark Knight had a shotgun, you'd be Doom guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's where knights congregate, so I'll go check with Sir Patronod, who I also don't remember, but I'm sure was also a part of the Dark Knight quests. Hell, you save so many people doing the things that people don't like doing in the Dark Knight quests, it's kind of hard to keep track. You lose count after a while. How's that for a defense class? I mean, if you ask Cole, he's played at the highest level of content in this game. Technically speaking, Dark Knight is the least defensive, right? Isn't it the least defensive of the defense classes?
The best way I could describe Dark Knight is you stay alive strictly because you are healing so much off of hitting things and committing untold violence upon your enemies that you just stay alive. You are a living juggernaut. You are the closest thing this game has to a drain tank berserker. If you want a real berserker that's literally just too angry to die, you go to Warrior.
Yeah,
if you want to be a fucking vampire, you just play Dark Knight.
There you go. So where Warrior is a traditional berserker, Dark Knight is, yeah, vampiric. I mean, I use Soul Eater, and I literally suck the soul out of my enemies every 3 hits, so, you know. Well, Sir Patronod, actually, I was told you handed this letter to someone else who eventually got it to me. Yeah, I'm not here to murder anybody today. Sorry. Wow, all the way from Rauger's Reach? Holy shit. Well, yeah, they must have. Probably because they were there all along. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. I might as well see this whole thing through to the end. You don't like Berserker classes, but you're also the guy who's like, I only need to hit you once, Dex Nerd.
Dark Knight's very much like that. Warrior's even more like that.
That's strength classes, basically. You miss Power Slash. Fuck, I'm old. I miss Power Slash, too, because you could Dark Arts Power Slash and get, like, massive aggro from it, and then you never have to use that combo after that for the rest of the fight. Sir Patronod was no more than another link in the chain, having received the letter from Arella of Rauger's Reach. He, like you, had been injured at the Gimlet Dark, and so he spent some nights there convalescing in her care. If further answers are to be found, it will be at the barber. Do you remember Sir Patronod? I do. Not by name, of course. He didn't have one when the tower fell. That's how these things so often go. You do your bit, only later to fill in the gaps, to piece together the picture in distant hindsight. What will your legacy be tomorrow? And the day after? And in the days after that? Not the violence that you crave, I can guarantee you that. Because pretty soon you will be someone else's master. And they will be yours. Off to the barber. It's in, yeah, western-ish Rauger's Reach. I probably shouldn't walk in front of the people with the bow and arrows, should I? I mean, it would just plink off of my armor, but still, why tempt fate?
Plink, plink, plink.
Why tempt fate? What if I get a shot through the ear in the last quest and the stream has to end early like that? A thick ledger.
Lifeblood quickly changing the canon so that happens.
Who wrote these quest descriptions? Why are you hurting me like this? The same person that wrote the main scenario of Shadowbringers wrote this quest. Again, she's better at short storytelling. I don't remember any of these people, so I'm glad that you do, Frey. In Dark Souls, you're the guy who actually uses the Havel equipment, because it is the heavy stuff you want. Yeah, see, I like either light rolling or mid rolling in Souls games. So I've put the Havel stuff on before, but if I'm fat rolling, I just feel gross, you know. So actually, no, we're not here for him this time. What was his name? Mist? Something like that. I don't even remember. But we're not here for him this time. We're here for this letter. A heavy roll for life, bitch. There you go. Yeah, she didn't manage to get it to me in patch 5.4, so I would assume that it just eventually ended up where it was supposed to because it had to. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I was interred in Ishgard while I recovered anyway at the beginning of this whole stream through, so it makes sense that I would, you know, eventually find it if I was over there. I do remember Gundabald, though. He's the leader of Little Alamigo, so let's go back there. Using up all my Aetheryte tickets to do this, but that's okay. That Dragon Tooth comes down, it is dead, and that is a fact. That's true. Dragon Tooth hits really hard.
I vividly remember my first run through of Elden Ring, in that I'd finally got to live out a dream I've had for a long time with a Souls game, where I could play a combination like a Spellblade, like running around having a high magic stat. It's fucking adorable. Having a high int stat, and still running around and hitting things. Because I unironically accidentally my way into like a meta level stupidly high tier build.
Did you play Dex
literally
int
just because
or Strength int?
Strength int.
Okay.
The Moonlight Greatsword scaled directly off of your int stat, so
Okay.
I was building other stats just so I could light roll in medium in like heavy armor.
Yeah,
because I'm
that
a
makes
lunatic. You need light rolls later. God, you need the light rolls later. I am Melania, Blade of Michelin.
Oh no. Yeah, well, I did read it, and I do know who they are. I'm pretty much just going through the motions, if I'm honest with you, Gundabald. I already know who the signer is. I'm just, you know, going through it.
Isn't that like in Bloodborne with the Moonblade as well? Yes.
Yeah, I believe it does the same thing. I think it scales with strength too in Bloodborne, but I could be misremembering.
You know what pisses me off about Bloodborne?
Where?
There's no item to respec. You have to commit to a build from start to finish, and that drives me fucking insane.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair. Gundabald
Every
regards
other
you.
game has one!
Actually, only from Dark Souls 2 and up, I think, did. And Bloodborne was made by a different team, so they didn't know to do that. I don't know. Gundabald regards you thoughtfully and states that the letter speaks for itself, which is why he agreed to send it on the author's behalf. However, if you are unwilling to let it lie, if you still seek answers and closure, he will not deny you. There's a man at the Red Rooster Stead in Lower Lanasia that may be able to help you find a measure of peace. Now, Gundabald, he's seen you at your best and at your worst. He's seen you when you were 1 and when you were 2. He could tell you someone else wrote the letter if that's what you'd like to believe. It'd be a turn, sure, but we've seen stranger things. Just in this X-Pack, true. Or he could continue to regard you with that same mixture of concern and fear that bubbles to the surface when the topic of us comes up, and say nothing of the sort. And you could go to Red Rooster Stead with the answer of your choosing. See if it's all to your satisfaction. Okay, now you're starting to sound like Emmett, and I hate that. It drives you insane, and you actually do that already anyway. Well, fair enough. I think Red Rooster Stead is the place with no Aetheryte in Lower Lanasia. Yeah, so I'll just go from, the Limsa
Convinced they did that on purpose.
Probably. Oh, look, a Halloween costume for a chocobo. That's actually kind of cool. It's like a Plague Doctor uniform. Not a big fan of the pumpkin, but the Plague Doctor uniform is, nice. Parvati, you haven't been out yet to fly away this episode, so let's let you fly. This sounds like it is you that is a lunatic at this point. I mean, I'm still playing this video game, Lifeblood, so was that ever in question?
This has got to be nostalgic for you, flying back through this area. All the level 1 enemies.
Actually, I think it would be more nostalgic for you because you started in Limsa. I actually started in Ul'dah, even though I was supposed to start in Limsa. Remember the boat got redirected. So we ended up in the opposite places. You were supposed to start in Ul'dah, and I was supposed to start in Limsa. Then you started here, and then eventually made your way to Ul'dah, and then, well, self-destruct.
Even though canonically,
in the arena,
fucking.
and the rest is history. Yeah, ladybugs are like level 1 enemies, basically, so they start you off small. This questline is literally just twisting the knife as fast as mechanically possible, but yeah, the ladybugs are enemies. Sometimes even higher than level 1. I think you can fight some for a side quest in this field specifically that are like level 6. Yeah, I don't remember canonically how we had Rory, like if we actually had Rory end up starting in Ul'dah as well and ending up going to the arena, or if she started here at the Marauders Guild to train with the axe and then went to the arena.
She ended up in Ul'dah first, because that's
Okay.
where she was captured.
Okay.
Because she was basically given the option, being a Garlean vagrant, she was like, they gave her the option of, you fight in the arena because you're a prisoner, and you seem capable and entertaining, so go.
Yes. And then she earned a claim in the arena, and then I went to the arena with my blue magic because I didn't know what else I was supposed to do because I didn't have any training in any other martial fields at that point. And then we fought in the arena, and I self-destructed in her face, and it was a tie. Actually, I think I lost, if I remember how they judged it, because I blew myself up. And that's how we became fast friends. And she still talks about it with her therapist at the Immortal Flames every day.
Every single day. I heard it. God.
It was me. I don't really remember those quests, if I'm honest with you.
They were very interesting quests.
They were. I'm surprised I don't remember them.
Because you ripped him a new asshole. Because this was right near the back half of the Dark Knight quests.
Oh, okay.
Where, before you started realizing the whole, everything.
Yeah. Right before I realized that I was the Shadow, the true self. You saw this fucking instantly recognized them. You're shit with names, but do you remember faces? Yeah, he's not bringing a bell for me. It's probably because it's been like 5 years since I've seen him. What does a blue mage do? So in this game, a blue mage can learn their spell kit from enemies out in the field. So you watch an enemy fight, you watch them use a certain skill that a blue mage can learn, you kill that enemy, you learn the spell, and then you can use it whenever you want. You can only have 24 spells equipped at a time, but there's like 100 and something of them now in the game, so, One of those spells is from a bomb. It's called Self-Destruct. It blows me the fuck up. Deals lots of damage, but then I am the dead, so,
Now I am the dead.
Bleh.
Speaking of quest.
Anyway, let's keep going. Oh. So is that what's growing in this field now? Yeah, well, I mean, you wouldn't have been the first or the last to do that, to be fair. Well, it's good that you turned a corner, then. This is the same day that this sprouted, huh? Well, that's convenient even for me. Well, I'm glad to hear that your life turned a corner at the very least. Glad to hear that I've been helpful in a way that didn't involve, me committing you to a life of violence. Sure, why not? I will take it home to the children of the Doman Enclave with me.
Funerals and farewells, huh?
Yeah, maybe I should put it somewhere else then. With an old friend who, just so happens to have had both. So yeah, if it wasn't clicking for you yet at this point, Frey, your dark side, wrote the letter. Someone else indeed. And to top off the quest, we have to go back to... Well, I thought it was actually going to send us up to this cliff, but we'll go to that cliff later. For now, we got to go back to Camp Dragon Head and then go west of it to call out to Frey. So... You remember this fucker from the level 45 quest? Now, he was entitled enough to demand that we pay him back for his, quote, ruined goods. Fuck you, buddy! Alright, I'm not gonna walk for this one. Here, Interceptor, get in the pouch. Parvati, let's go. I just imagine every time we get on Parvati's back, Interceptor is just sitting in the pouch on the side of her, just with his tongue wagging out as we fly away. Like he's leaning outside of the window of a car. With the chat mode in Say, call out for Frey. Oh, that's in party. Hang on. Say, Frey. There. No response. Yet there can be no answer but this, can there? So let us wait for a time, you and I. In the cold, in the snow, in the dark. Yeah, that cliff is Hershafont in the marriage quest line. Yeah, that's true. So it's okay. We'll be going back to the cliff anyway, because I have a plan for where I'm going to bury this crystal. And I mean, where else could I have buried it, really? But with a dear old friend. He'll never need it again, but one day someone will. And the voice in the crystal will draw them to it. Because, frankly, Frey will probably be pretty lonely in there. I remember fishing for cloudfish in this section of the game. It was so long ago. How and when did your dark side write a letter? Oh, we're getting there. Let's just finish the quest and then I'll tell you my headcanon as to when I wrote it. First, I have to pose on this cliffside like someone's watching. Because there's at least 3 people watching. Good night, sweet prince. You'll still be there even after the crystal goes away. I just won't be able to talk to you anymore. But at least then we'll be of one mind. Yeah, hey, Cloud. Pretty much. Nah, I knew it was you the whole time. Well, you could have just talked to me. I mean, we're in the same head, dude. Well, that's true. I did look to you as a teacher at one point, but I didn't really need a teacher. I figured all this shit out on my own. Hey, look, it's me. We are all of those things at the same time. To be fair, I knew all of this already, but... Again, you and I are of the same heart and the same mind, so... You knew this already too, so what are we doing here? We just reiterating before this all comes to an end? Am I stalling for time with myself now? It was always yours, and it was always mine, and that will never change. Because I am you, and you are me. To the sea of mine soul you goeth, now forevermore. Still there, just not talking to me anymore. Okay, let's go see Sidurgu and tell him we figured out who wrote the letter. It was me. I wrote the letter. Let's take the car there since we've taken every other mount. And also because I can drive at approximately 35 miles an hour.
I am actually about to cry, IRL. I am fucking turning into a sobbing mess. This happened in Walker 2. It's okay, Marie. I'm getting there too, because the entire back half of that quest I was listening to fucking footfalls!
There you go.
Ah!
The female Dark Knight pose actually made this seem kind of Tales of the Abyssy. I mean, it's kind of similar, isn't it? Because Luke and Ash are... Well, they're not the same person, but they're almost the same person. A little bit different circumstances, similar result, I guess. Yes, I am thou. Thou art I. You have to admit this was cool. Again, this was written by the same person that wrote the main scenario of Shadowbringers, so she is capable of good storytelling. That's not in question. I just think that she's much more capable of, good storytelling when she has less to work with. So. Yeah, proofread shit, people. She probably poured over this quest about 100 times before she, published it anyway, because it's a fairly short quest. So, well, I'm glad to see you two patched it up. Yeah, back to a few places I've already been, to see a few people I've already seen, and see how their lives are leading them now. Closure, perhaps. We won't know till the end of this. And that's it. That's all they leave you with. A Dark Days Night 4, another chapter New Game Plus, and that's the end. But before we end it for sure, I know exactly where I'm going to bury this soul crystal. It couldn't be buried anywhere else. So let's go there and finish this up, shall we? You still listening to Footfalls?
You really need to listen to this man. Listen, I don't care what you think about this game. Footfalls is great.
Yeah, no, I like Footfalls. I enjoyed it when I heard it in the trailer.
Never New Game Plus that shit. I do not want my heart in tatters.
Yeah, no, like I said, I like that quest. I think that's one of the better level 80 ending for class quests. I just wish that it didn't come at the cost of, actual class quests in general. Like, there are role quests now, but not individual class quests other than those. So, hell, I'm not even sure if Endwalker has class quests, so. Yeah, that's why an MMO has New Game Plus, so people can play through the quests they liked again. Yeah, it's just for nostalgia, because you can't play through them again otherwise. I mean, you can make a new character, but it takes hundreds of hours to get back to that point, so. They said, instead of that, let's just make it so people can play them again if they want. So basically, you activate New Game Plus, and then you can... It fast forwards you to that quest, specifically, so... Then you can just play that quest line, or that chain. And, then you can be done. So... That's true, the magic of the first time won't ever happen again. Speaking of the magic of the first time... Lord Francel is here. I think that's Lord Francel, anyway. I'll join you. I'd like to think he would, Lord Francel. But I'm visiting him today for a different reason. I have to give him a gift. A gift that I'm not sure if he'll appreciate, because he might be thinking that I'm throwing away a piece of myself, but it's still there. It's just a part of me. A whole part of me, rather than separate. So we'll just stick that in the dirt. And now I am extremely cold. But that's okay. Alright, we have a crafter, we have a gatherer, and we have a level 70 blue mage. Time to go home. Tell that to the people who love New Game Plus. I love how this is the place where your sister's patron deity gets her marks. This is one of the places you used to just have a quiet time. Yeah, there you go. That's good. Well, it's raining here, but I think I'm going to end this the same place that this all, ended in Stormblood, even if I'll be sitting in the rain for a little bit. On this little bench, Hozan wasn't here last time, but I was here. And we saw all of this through to the end. So now... let's see how I fix all of the problems of the world in one fell swoop, shall we? Yes, it's over, so let's watch me hijack the cannon now.
Here we go.
Alright, I have to switch scenes here. So let me do that. Wow! Screen capture! Okay, so I had to switch scenes. Now. Go in here. Let me take a drink before we start this. Do you want to commentator. Actually, well, before I do this, let me think about this too. Let me go into my notes because I have my notes. I have the script for this entire section. It's a 23-minute long video. So that tells you just how much work I did on it.
I'm gonna be dead silent this entire time because I want you to have your moment.
I mean,
I just want to be here for an experience.
there you go. All right, my phone is moving really fucking slow, but basically I'm going to give you all the link to the script so that way you can all look at it if you want to follow along with the words. So let me get the link to that. Link copied. I think it'll let me put that in there. I am a very organized boy. Yes, that's true. Not sure you want to participate? It's up to you. I'm basically just going to talk about, like, here's how I'm ending the canon so I don't have to do Endwalker. And then here's... Oh, I need to switch to creator mode. Hold on. There we go. See all activity? Yeah, there we go. In chat. Send a message. I think... No, I don't want to edit it. You know, maybe I should just do this on the actual screen. Hold on a second. Let me do it this way. So first and foremost, turn that off for a second so I can go get the actual doc. Oh, you know, I actually have it right here. Never mind. I put it up on my computer before this. That's my bad.
But you wish you had 2 monitors.
Yeah, 2 monitors would be nice at this point. So Canon, he just fucked
to
off. End of story. All right, Lifeblood, take it easy. We will see you on April Fool's Day for my April Fool's Day stream. Here's the script. Cole, can you click that link to make sure it works, please? Just so that I
where'd
can,
you put it?
In the chat. OBS.
In the chat.
In the chat.
It does work.
It does work. Okay, good. So that's the script. You can follow along if you'd like with the words while I post the video. Cole said he's going to be quiet. I'm not sure how true that is. I still have Michael Rosen Describes Gen 5 Pokemon and that Ed video that I posted in the thing there. But that's not important right now. What is important is the ending. So let's do this. Let's do this. I should open chat on my phone so I can see what everybody says about it. Hold on. Switching to creator mode. Chat. Okay. Stick around for this because while you got your closure, Endwalker finally gave you your answer after giving you closure of a kind, yeah. Well,
you know, as one final lance through the heart, when you buried Harshifon's crystal and talked about losing a piece of yourself, the first thing that came into mind is said, I'm sure he won't mind, so long as you never lose your smile.
Because a smile better suits a hero.
I'm gonna go die now.
Oh boy. All right, so if anything doesn't make sense, stop me and ask a question, and I will stop the video so everybody can get the answer that they want. Cole, stop. No. But it's 23 minutes long. Enjoy. And so our hero's journey came to an end. With his soul crystals put to rest and his final farewells said, he returned home to the Doman Enclave, where he would live out the rest of his days in peace. Oh, and let me know if the audio is okay, because I'm pretty sure everybody can hear it, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So. But even as he returned to his duties as a craftsman and teacher's assistant, another threat loomed large on the horizon, threatening to stifle the peace he had fought so hard for. The Crystal of Azim, a jewel containing the ultimate power. A relic from before the Sundering, saturated with an incredible amount of etheric energy, capable of transporting the very shards across time and space to collide with the source in a cataclysm heretofore unseen by the cosmos. Lost to our heroes in the aftermath of their return from the First, and now fallen into the wrong hands. In his bid to become the strongest being in existence, Xenos had attracted the attention of an Ascian lackey who had been hiding in the void for eons. He had this Ascian find the Crystal of Azim for him, hoping to use it to lure our hero out of retirement to fight him once again. To add insult to injury, Xenos also had this Ascian break into our hero's apartment to steal his strongest katana, which turned out to be a replica, so he also had the Ascian break into Maelstrom headquarters to steal the real thing. Yeah. What dramatic irony, Xenos thought, to kill the hero of this star with the very weapon he once brought to bear against me. Assured of his victory, Xenos needed only to let his ultimatum be known to the world. And so it was that he met with Rory and the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, where he had last seen them, in the flower gardens of the Royal Menagerie. He told them that if Jimmy Grayston failed to show his face, he would have the Ascian use the Crystal of Azim to fuse the void with the Source, causing the world to come to a violent end. He knew this would be enough. His enemy, his friend, he could never ignore such a dire cry for help. Could he? He could. Jimmy Grayston never arrived at the Royal Menagerie that day, and this left Xenos confused. How could a hero of such caliber ignore him? The only person who had ever challenged him now choosing to let the world be destroyed over one final duel? It didn't make any sense. Unless... Rory spoke up. She alone knew of Jimmy's journey to separate himself from his tools of destruction, and she told Xenos as such. Without his soul crystals, Jimmy could never be a match to Xenos again. He had made himself too weak to bother with. Confusion turned to anger, rage, despair. With nothing left to fight for, Xenos ordered his Ascian lackey to use the power of the Crystal of Azim to destroy the Source and everyone on it. The Ascian lifted the crystal high into the air, focusing on the energy stored inside, and... they were gone. Xenos and the Ascian had been spirited away, and the Source and the Void remained. The Scions turned to each other, just as confused as Xenos had been moments before. Where could they have vanished to? That wasn't the power of the Crystal of Azim. Was this some sort of trick? It was a trick, actually, and Rory smiled, staring at the sky, knowing exactly who had engineered one of the greatest deceptions in the history of the Source. That bastard. Allow me to break from narration for just a moment, dear readers, to ask all of you an important question. Who do you think it was that spread the rumors of the Crystal of Azim's unimaginable power? The reality is, the crystal wasn't as strong as it was made out to be. It was basically an ancient precursor to aetherite technology. When used, it could attune to the ether of an area that Azim visited, and when used again, he could return himself and anyone traveling with him to that place almost instantly. But that wasn't known to Xenos or the Ascian, and it wouldn't draw them out of hiding to fall for the trick. So Jimmy used his intelligence network to spread misinformation about the crystal, making it out to be one of the strongest magical devices in existence. And since Xenos never did make a habit of doing proper research, he and the Ascian believed in the strength of the crystal wholesale, and attempted to use its full, if false, potential. The crystal worked exactly as it was supposed to. Thanks to the Ascian's eons-old ties to the Void, the crystal attuned to the place he had called home for so long from the ambient ether clinging to his corporeal form, and teleported them both there straight away. And, by this single act of deception, the world was saved. Minutes passed there on the Royal Menagerie, and Xenos and the Ascian didn't return. The Ascian could cast teleportation magic, as could all of his kind, but no matter how long they would wait, Xenos wasn't coming back. For the second time in his life, he had allowed his emotions to overtake his thoughts, and in a fit of unbridled rage at the failure of the spell, he destroyed the Ascian with a single swing of Jimmy's katana. And by this single act of frustration, Xenos cut off his only means of ever escaping from the Void. There were more pressing issues for Xenos to deal with, though. The collective hive mind of the Void wouldn't let the Ascian's ether go to waste. It absorbed the ether and transformed it into an army of dark creatures, incapable of anything but destruction. In a bid to protect their home from this intruder, the darkness threw everything it could muster at Xenos, but he was able to stand his ground against the umbral tide. They would respawn there in the Void again and again, but they only succeeded in dashing themselves against his blades again and again. Before long, Xenos knew their every move. His kills grew more efficient, the time between their respawns took longer, and Xenos was growing bored at the prospect of only facing these creatures. The Void's hive mind, feeling cornered, decided to bring its all to bear against him, and sent out a distress signal to all Voidsent across all of the shards and the Source. And they answered the call, abandoning whatever their duties were to their respective dimensions to protect their home. The effects rippled out within days of the Great Deception. Voidsent that once prowled the roads and ancient ruins of the land vanished without a trace, back to the place they would return to if they ever fell in battle. When all was said and done, 90% of the Voidsent that once populated the Source made their way to the Void to do battle. Though his adversaries vastly outnumbered him, Xenos would eventually cut them down all the same, and they would rise again, there in that wellspring of dark ether, stronger and more varied, as the Void tried to defeat him once and for all. But Xenos was the strongest being in the Source, and his resonant powers meant that he would never tire, never grow hungry or thirsty, and never need a break from the endless tide. The Void was an unstoppable force, but he was an immovable object, and their fight would last for all eternity. It was a prison of Xenos' own design, a war without end, the greatest gift anyone had ever given him. Perhaps he had reason to thank his friend after all. In the advent of the Void Scent returning to their home, the slight overbalance of dark ether that the Source had been dealing with for years was addressed. The world's ether became perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Of the 10% of the Void Scent that remained, the vast majority had self-actualized their emotions by their contact with civilization, whether through bonding with the Reaper clan or simple observation over a long period of time. And thanks to the newfound peace afforded by the absence of their brethren, they would eventually be accepted into society as an integral part of the collective, on equal ground to all the other races of the world. But more immediate matters became the concern of the world first. Without a leader to guide them, the people of Garlemald looked to the Populares to spare them from the famine and poverty that the Galvus family had held over them for so long, and the Populares reached out to the people of Eorzea to assist them with the recovery effort. While the people of Garlemald were reluctant to reach out to the supposed savages of that land, it wasn't long before they proffered a hand in friendship. Rory and the Scions of the Seventh Dawn were the first to answer the call, and all of Eorzea and Doma would eventually follow them in assisting their brothers and sisters of the North. Where once they traded blades with one another, they now set them aside in favor of crafting hammers and harvesting gear. And through slow and steady progress, the nation would eventually find its feet again, defined not by war, but by progress toward the future. Our hero, Jimmy Grayston, had hoped that all of this would come to pass thanks to his great deception, but his plan relied on a lot of moving parts to come to fruition. As such, he hid the truth of this misinformation from his friends until after Xenos disappeared, to make their reactions to his willful ignorance more genuine. He couldn't risk any of them knowing the truth until it was too late to stop it, because, as his previous attempts at retirement had taught him, it wasn't enough for him to simply exclude himself from the cycle of violence the world was caught in. Others would rise up in pursuit of the endless war, and he would be forced to return to the battlefield to kill hundreds more people and thousands more animals for the sake of a temporary peace. His hands were already stained with blood. There was no bringing back the people that he had killed. But if he could spare the children of Doma from inheriting that legacy of pain and loss, and provide them with a world where adventuring didn't go hand in hand with violence and death, he would take whatever steps were necessary. He would keep his friends from the truth. He would remove players from the board that threatened to stifle a more permanent peace. And he would rebuild the countries ravaged by war for the rest of his life to atone for his deeds. Thankfully, he would not have to resort to a life of vengeful assassination to rescue the world from the cycle of violence. Xenos was the last major obstacle standing in his way, a being wholly devoted to war, who would never turn from that path in favor of a more modest domestic life. And he could take him out of commission in a single gambit, one that didn't require him to stoop to Xenos' level. Though the plan had its risks, to our hero, it seemed to be the solution that resulted in the least amount of bloodshed. And in its aftermath, the world now turned to a brighter dawn, to cast aside the crimson tides of war that had ravaged it for so long. To put it simply, it was an ending that he wrote with his own hands, and he couldn't have asked for a better one. So that's the ending. But where would an ending really be without an obligatory Where Are They Now segment for all of the characters that have helped us on our way? Let's see what they're all up to, shall we? The reconstruction of Garlemald was no small effort. It would require the assistance of the realm's foremost builders to even get off the ground, and there were none more prepared for it than the engineers of Garland Ironworks. Though Cid was reluctant to return to his homeland, he eventually put his apprehensions to rest in favor of helping his former countrymen. With the technology of the ironworks at their disposal, the hurdles of reconstruction seemed much more surmountable to the people of Garlemald, and with the additional hands afforded by the people of Eorzea and Doma, what would have taken decades to reconstruct would instead take only a few years. The motto of the engineers, freedom through technology, would now see Cid's homeland to freedom from the shackles of their past. Of course, the saccharine nature of all this made Nero feel more than a little nauseous, but even he came around to the idea, eventually. One of the largest hurdles for the reconstruction of Garlemald was the simple act of providing everyone in the country with enough food to get through each day. Thanks to the overabundance of Magitech experiments the Old Empire oversaw, the lands around Garlemald were decayed, infertile, and devoid of what they would need to grow crops. Rory's newfound expertise with survival in the First was the key to solving this problem, and her ideas would turn the country's fortunes from famine to feast. At the beginning of the reconstruction, she used her pull with the Eorzean Alliance to import culinary goods to the province and opened a number of soup kitchens, providing the people of Garlemald with a warm meal free of charge. But it was clear that this was a temporary solution, so Rory began brainstorming more permanent methods of allowing them to become self-sufficient. Her first suggestion was the repurposing of Imperial Magitech facilities into hydroponic gardens, using the constant thunderstorms above Garlemald as a source of water and energy. This was enough to provide food for the major urban centers, but the townships on the outskirts, especially those close to the burn, had neither the economy to afford the food grown in these gardens, nor the fertile land to grow their own. Thus, Rory proposed that they use her knowledge of restoring the ether to the empty in the First to terraform the land, making it fertile enough for crops to grow. It was a long struggle, requiring the brightest minds of the known world, but in their collaboration, the burn would eventually see greenery again. Rory also pushed to retrofit the old Magitech mechs with farming equipment, which sped up the harvesting process tenfold. With all of her suggestions put into motion, Garlemald would become one of the world's foremost agricultural enterprises, providing the country with a much-needed niche in the world's economy. And when a parliamentary government was established to replace the old monarchy, the people of the province showed her their thanks by voting her in as the first head of the Agricultural Committee. She continues to provide for her province in this role to this day, her training as a soldier giving way to a desire to see her people thrive. In a way, both take advantage of her keen mind for battle, but in vastly different ways. Hoot stayed with Rory throughout the reconstruction of Garlemald, but once they began their terraforming project for the burn, he decided to move to now greener pastures to live wild and free for the rest of his days. His ability to change his size at will made it easy to seek shelter from the storms, or to dominate the landscape as one of its apex predators. Still, he would occasionally miss his home with his old traveling companion, and so he would return to Rory's side, for old time's sake. Though it took many years, the people of Garlemald would eventually forget the oppression that the Galvus family put them through in favor of the brighter, happier moments of the here and now. Perhaps one day, centuries from now, the people will rediscover Xenos' story and learn of his never-ending battle in the void to stave off the creatures of the dark. He may even become something of a folk hero to them, but that might be looking at things too optimistically. 2 Ascians remained in the void to witness the eternal struggle between Xenos and the Dark, Pashtarat, the preserver of order, and Halmaret, the phytobiologist. While Pashtarat would eventually join the battle himself, seeking to use Xenos' power to revive Zodiark, he would ultimately fail, again and again, as all other hostile Voidsent would. Witnessing this stalemate over the course of hundreds of years left Halmaret with nothing but a gnawing sense of boredom. His life's work before the Sundering had been to catalog the ever-changing lives of the plants of the world, often following in the footsteps of Azim the Traveler, and his talents for biology felt entirely wasted in this stagnant space. The pull to return to his studies was, at first, not enough to break Zodiark's hold over his mind, but eventually, in the face of watching nothing but the same fight over and over again for the rest of eternity, His desire for change returned him to his faculties. Wasting no time, he made for the source, to attempt to integrate himself into society, as many self-actualized creatures of darkness had done before him. The world that Halmarut found was one where Voidsent had earned a number of victories in the fight for equality, and he was able to return to his studies, with a whole new world of plant life standing before him. It is said that he led the simple life of a traveler afterwards, and his works would inspire countless others, Voidsent or otherwise, to pursue the life of a biologist. Quinfucius returned to Ishgard after the Great Deception into the open wings of his beloved Saint Quethrin. While they wished to pursue a more anonymous life in the aftermath of their many adventures, their names in association with one of Ishgard's greatest heroes afforded them more than a little celebrity, and their actions were often observed by onlookers hoping to catch a glimpse of the chocobos who saved the world. Thus, when St. Quethrin showed signs of expecting chicks, they elected to migrate to a quieter part of the Dranian countryside to raise them in peace. While many of the onlookers may have tried to follow them, the dragons living in the Forelands had quite a few tools at their disposal to scare them off. And for the noble companions of the hero that saved them from a 1,000-year war, they would gladly scare a few mortals away. Having spread her wings wide across multiple realms and countries in the twilight of her years, Parvati retired to a quiet, solitary life in the Yangshan countryside. Still, her training as an aerial unit for the Alamegan Resistance made patrolling the land a regular part of her routine, and she would often soar over the Doman Enclave in her travels, much to the excitement of those who lived there. Mizuko returned to her handler, Takotsubo, with a newfound appreciation for the wider world around her. Though she would eventually take a mate and have pups of her own, she never forgot her favorite human, and she would often lead her family on adventures across the Ruby Sea to visit him again at the Doman Enclave. Under the watchful eye of our hero, the children of Doma would eventually grow up to face the world themselves. With their lives no longer bound by the shadows of war, they could pursue careers as adventurers without having to worry about constantly fighting for their lives in the process. They would eventually go on to make a number of discoveries in the far-flung, unknown corners of the world, in places forgotten by adventurers that were more preoccupied with their own survival. And while they occasionally had to defend themselves, they were able to make a living without killing hundreds of people and thousands of animals, which was all their inspiration could ask for. As the world grew up around him, Interceptor stayed faithfully at Jimmy's side. He briefly considered joining the Doman Adventurers Guild on their exploratory missions once they were grown up, but he decided that being with Jimmy was where he belonged. And it was probably for the best that he did, because Jimmy had one last adventure for the both of them to go on. There's one more account that warrants mention, and the story wouldn't be complete without him. The hero of our story, Jimmy Grayston. Much and more is known of his exploits in the realms of Eorzea, Doma, and Garlemald. A savior to some, a killer to others, his journey will forever be one surrounded by controversy. Only a select few know of his exploits to banish Xenos to the Void and force the world down a more peaceful path, but he was never one to revel in this victory. Instead, he focused his attention on teaching and maintenance, living outside of the spotlight to allow new heroes to rise to the world's challenges. It is said that the voice of the Mother Crystal, which guided him in the early parts of his journey, he never heard again. He speculated that she had chosen a path for him, one that guided him to follow in the footsteps of Azim the Traveler, and that he had strayed from that path, chosen a different future, which, in turn, led to her silence. But he didn't mind. Nor did he ever fully grasp the comparison to Azim in the first place, because Jimmy Grayston was not a man of this world. He came from another, where centuries of fighting and societal corruption had led to one last desperate act to bring peace to the world. And though it cost him his freedom, he saw that peace through to the end with the help of the friends he made on his journey. In the aftermath, he chose to sail the Sea of Solace and make a simpler life for himself. Little did he imagine that he would find a storm at sea so powerful that it would fling him into another dimension, far from his home, and force him to fight for the freedom of another world, shackled by war. Now, with his life's work complete and the world set upon a better path, he decided to use what little knowledge he had of interdimensional travel to ask an old friend if he could ever return home. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think of a better ending if we make it back. It kind of ends on a cliffhanger right now. Well, we make a good team when it comes to this stuff. We always have. Oh, what, are you scared that this isn't gonna work? Well, I guess that'll make it easier to hold on to them. If this is anything like last time, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. Yeah, but pretty soon that'll all be behind us, though. I'll see you on the other side. I wouldn't expect anything less. Okay, Interceptor, hang on tight. Alpha, I'm ready. Take us to the Saurian Union. I believe my exact words at the end of Pyre were, "That's a story for another day." This was that story, and now it's at an end. The end. So, yeah, the big twist was not that I banished Xenos to the void for all of eternity by tricking him into thinking the Asm Crystal was anything more than a teleport stone. That was a trick in itself, but it wasn't the twist. The twist is I was from the Pyre universe all along. And that wasn't even in the actual script originally. Originally, Pyre and 14 weren't going to have anything to do with each other, but then at the very end of the Pyre playthrough, after I turned the difficulty as high up as I could possibly do in order to guarantee that I would lose to Oralek, I still won. And originally, the best ending that I wanted was to say, okay, so I'll lose that fight, but then you talk to Oralek in your mind, he listens to reason, and he lets you go free to the Saurian Union rather than Tizo. He decides to stay down there with Tizo and Volfred and Bertrude, and he doesn't kill himself. That's the most important thing, too. But by defeating him in battle, he will always kill himself. And I chose to give Tizo his freedom, but I always felt remorse about the fact that I couldn't save Oralek. So I took that to mean that my character in Pyre would feel a little bit listless, and so I'd just kind of go off sailing into random places, even if it was dangerous. And eventually that led to the boat being flung into a storm similar to the Deathless Tempest that literally shot me into the space between worlds, into the Pillar of the Sky, where Alpha rescued me and then sent me to a different dimension because he knew what was going to happen in the future, and he decided that I needed to be there even if I wasn't a big fan of the idea of fighting things. And, well, the rest you've seen. The rest is the 14 playthrough, so. But yeah, so I guess the twist really was the fact that that malachite that I've been carrying around for the entire playthrough in my inventory that I looked at least once per stream, and I made at least one Pyre reference per stream, that was the twist, is that malachite was Sandra's Beyonder crystal. And that's it. That is the end of Final Fantasy XIV in general. Cole, are you still here? I can't tell. I think he's still here. It says he's still here.
I have nothing.
You have nothing.
There is
well, that's a first.
No words that I have. I can't. What the fuck, Richard?
So, funny story about this, actually, though, is that about 80% of that script that we just did there, with Xenos being banished to another dimension, him fighting off the Void Scent for the rest of eternity because he wanted a war without end, all of that was written, 3 years ago. Right after the Stormblood playthrough, I basically sat down and said, how do I want this to end? And before even playing Shadowbringers, I was like, no, if this ends poorly, this is how I want it to end. And I said, it might be kind of interesting because the Asm crystal is the same color as the teleport crystals from Final Fantasy XII. So what if it just is a teleport crystal? And then I said, we're going to roll with that. And everything else sort of came out from there. The rest of the story that was written was the Rory stuff, which Cole did over the course of the next year or so, figuring out what her echo was, everything like that. And then the last like 2% of it was me just kind of strapping Pyre onto the end of it because I fucked up and didn't get the best ending. So, you know. But yeah, that was a labor of love, I guess. that 23-minute long video.
23 minutes. What? That was a roller coaster.
Did I at least do Rory the proper justice, though? I tried to include everything that you gave me for Rory's end story. So, and honestly, the stuff that I put there still frees Rory up to have adventures that I wouldn't know about. So, your brain is barely functional. Oh boy, does that mean I did? Well, okay. Let me ask this: is that because I blew your mind, or is it because I did a bad job at telling the story?
It's because I think you blew my mind, at least.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
You know, I really thought that the end of this stream was just gonna be Xenos gets banished to the void. You go off and you just retire into the Dome and Enclave forever.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, you turn Jimmy Grayston, the fucking protagonist of the playthrough that has been Rory's best friend for the entire goddamn thing,
Mm-hmm.
into an interdimensional traveler!
Yeah, and again, that was tacked on like literally 6 months ago when the Pyre playthrough ended. I said, how do I strap this on there? Because it would be silly not to at this point. And the more I went through this playthrough, the more I was like, maybe this won't work. But then I said, you know what, fuck it. I already put the gears into motion. I'll just roll with it. And here we are. So, yeah.
Holy shit-a-moly.
Well, I'm glad to have properly blown the minds of several people because of how much I thought through that. It's like you said, though, Marie, I really thought about this one to figure out exactly how every piece could fit together. Like, I was like, okay, so how do I stop Xenos from being a threat? Oh, I just make him a folk hero by banishing him to the void and make him fight the void scent for the rest of time because he's basically immortal at this point. But, and this is important, he never learned how to teleport, and he killed all the Asians that could teach him. So that was a big sticking point. I was like, no, I have to absolutely positively make sure he can never get out. Anukalai and Ciela are going to be really pissed at me, but he can never get out. It's a jail for him. It is the closest thing that Xenos will ever get to horny jail. So, and this is the result. Okay, so any passing thoughts, any final thoughts, or does your brain need to ventilate?
I got nothing. I got nothing.
Cole needs to ventilate his brain a little bit. So we will all ventilate, and I will take, well, technically speaking, I'll take Thursday off because I was going to stream Thursday as well, but I can't really do that when I've got an April Fool's joke planned. So instead, I'll probably just post an update video talking about our next set of projects.
That I can say is that 23-minute long insanity that I just witnessed just makes me remember how much I miss you editing.
It was a fun project to edit, actually, to be fair. And I kind of got the bug to do it again when I did that Michael Rosen Describes Gen 5 Pokemon video. Which is, by the way, over on my Fancy Edits channel. I'll post it in the videos and music. Actually, no, it's in the Fancy Edits section in my Discord server, so you can just watch it there. So I kind of got the bug for that, and then I was like, okay, I'm just going to go edit some stuff. And then I just kind of threw some stuff together. That took like probably 10 hours to edit, all things told. My timeline was really full, but I've got a good computer in Vegas Movie Studio 13 now, so it works. It doesn't crash on me every time, you know, I try to edit something. Be honest, this literally makes you nostalgic for when I was a straight YouTuber. Oh, the Halcyon days. I remember those days when I would edit all that shit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd go back to it. It was a lot of work for no pay at all, but occasionally I get the bug and I'll just go back and do it. But that's it. We're done. This is the end of Final Fantasy XIV, the Stream Edition. I hope you've enjoyed it. even though I was not a big fan the whole time, I wanted to make sure I finished it because after a while I was like, no, sunk cost fallacy be damned. This is the end game and we're going to fucking finish it. So, thank you for watching, everybody. I appreciate you coming out to Twitch and YouTube to check out the stream. And I will see all of you on the next one, which will be happening on April Fool's Day, this Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I have a joke planned. I don't know if it'll be as funny as the end of that, but I have a joke planned. We'll see what it is when we get here then. Until then, everybody, take care and have a good one.
Bye.
Any final things to say since this is your last joint stream with me for a while?
Looking forward to the Elden Ring stream.
There you go.